All right, 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. Welcome aboard the post-game show alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. We are broadcasting live from Pro Swing. In fact, we're finishing up a day of Pro Swing broadcasting. Am I on this thing here?
You are
good. Everything's good. Hey, how y'all doing? Good to see you.
That way you can wave to people.
David Cloninger is here. Matt Cloninger is here, making sure we run the show correctly. He's watching some kid like blow stuff up. I don't know what that's got, but it's fun.
It's action-packed.
I just finished playing around the golf at Spyglass, so that was fun.
It went very well.
It went better at the end.
Yeah. There was gradual improvement.
Can
confirm that there was some gradual improvement.
Do we not have a headset for David?
We do have a headset for David.
It's somewhere. I see it.
It's
there
right
it
here.
is. Yeah, I was saying, I know. Where is that?
Right next to my rear end, which is the best place for a headset to be.
Somewhere. Well, that's something like that. Yes. Anyway, lots to get to on today's program. DC kind enough to shoot on over here for a little bit and hang out. We're here till 6. We'll be here again tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow, the big day, as opening round of the Masters gets underway. Par 3 going on right now. I think we've got a couple of TVs that have that on somewhere. You see all the little kids that are, making putts for their dads and whatnot.
Yeah. See, you know why they have them doing the putts for them? Not just because it's the Par 3 contest and it's all happy-go-lucky and fun. They do that because that's one of those things maybe you don't want to win, because no winner of the Par 3 contest went on to win the Masters.
That's still remarkable.
It's like winning the President's Trophy in the NHL,
right? Yeah,
they never win the Stanley Cup after.
So one day somebody is going to do that. But we got a lot of Gamecock things to get to with DC, and we'll include him in the discussion. Elijah and I this morning, as we were planning the show and talking a little spring football, as often happens, one thing led to another. And David, we said, who needs it more in the SEC football season coming up? And that's an open-ended question with plenty of answers. But one of them was basically, hey, it could be Texas could need it more. Alabama could need it more. Georgia could need it. I think you could honestly make a case for almost any school. But we'll touch on that.
I've created a list.
And I mean,
top 5 list.
I think I have 2 amongst all others that really need to. And again, a big season doesn't necessarily mean that you make the CFP title game or something like that.
I've classified it as improvement.
Yeah, I mean,
like you have to be better. Like the teams that have to be better than they were last year.
Yeah. So we'll touch on some of those things for you. A little baseball to get to, basketball on both sides, and again, we'll talk some Masters as well. 803-404-6100 to be part of the program. You can text us, you can call us, you can hit us on Twitter. And I just realized that because I was playing golf today, I forgot to put out a "What We're Doing" tweet. But I just told you what we're doing. So now no one's going to know. Now it doesn't really matter.
But if it's not on Twitter, then it's not official. Then no one really knows.
Yeah, that's true.
What we're doing.
Isn't that how life is? If it's not on Twitter,
then how does anybody know? How does anybody know if it's not online?
Don't even know what we're doing.
Online's where all the experts are.
But David, let's start real quick with just some of the things we actually just ended our last show with on the women's basketball team. And Tanai Latson coming in from Florida State, potentially Chloe Kitt's sister. That seems to be a nice rumor, at least at this point. But
potentially Chloe Kitt's sister. She is Chloe Kitt's sister.
Coming into the coming into
clarification.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, she is Chloe Kitt's sister. That's a fair point. Yes, but is she coming into the program? We shall see. But at this point,
commas are necessary.
It's still, I think, the question remains, David. Will there be departures? And I'm not predicting it. I'm not anticipating it. I don't know what you've heard, read, seen, written,
reported, researched,
yeah. The things that you do for a living.
Discovered.
But I mean, should this is based on the Twitter poll we're running today. Should there be any level of concern about departures?
Well, obviously, you did see Sakima Walker leave yesterday, and that was a move that she felt she needed to make. She has 1 year left from the Pavia rule, and it was like go somewhere where you could play. And she wasn't going to play whether or not USC gets another post in this class, which they do want out of the transfer portal. So after her, I would be very surprised if anybody else left. That doesn't mean there could be a circumstance that popped up, but I would be very surprised at this point if anybody else left. But they are still looking for people in the transfer portal, and we'll see who comes in. Obviously, since this happened yesterday, after a lot of big news, and people are like, "Oh, it's Kylie Kitt's, Chloe Kitt's sister." Do you think? I'd be very surprised if she was here.
Right.
So let's just end the speculation right there.
Okay. Yeah. But they do need a true 5.
They were looking for one, but it kind of goes like this, Jay. If they can get a true takeover center, which there's not going to be a whole lot that you can get at this point. There's a couple out there that might fit that bill, but if you could get someone who would probably be interested in saying, maybe you'll be our sixth woman off the bench, because they feel that they have two great starting posts in Joyce Edwards and Chloe Kitts. There's nothing wrong with either of them. Joyce has earned a starting spot. There's one open now that Sanaya Fagan has left, and you could slide her right in there. That said, I mean, I don't think you're going to find a dominant player like a Cardoso, a Boston, hallowed be the name Aja, to put her in there. So if you could go find someone who said, would you be comfortable if we had to bring you off the bench? Sure. Can you dominate a game? Can you take over a game? Sure. There's a few out there that fit that description. Specifically, there's a young lady from Florida, a young lady from Mississippi State that I know they're interested in. But, you just got to see what's going to happen. And since we are not only in the age of college sports that we're in, but the age of right now, you have to have your NIL commitments done. They want to have them done before July 1st, because after July 1st is when the clearinghouse takes place, which of course is not going to work, much like anything the NCAA
No, I smell
does.
lawsuits all over the place on that one.
So everybody's trying to front load a bunch of contracts right now and get people in, and USC women's basketball is no exception. So that said, there's not just a money concern with USC. People want to come be part of a winning program.
Yeah.
Why did Natia Latson want to come in? I want to win championships, and I get the added bonus of doing it beside my friend Raven Johnson.
Yeah.
And she knows another half of the team.
And she knows, Ashland and Malaysia too. So,
Yeah.
all right. So on that note, though, David, I'm going to give you. All right. So let's say that. And this is in no particular order. I'm going to give you names. All right. Watkins, Fulwiley, Johnson, Latson, Kitts, Edwards. That's 7 players.
Mhm.
Only 5 of them can start.
Mhm.
So is this going to continue to be? Is it problematic for anybody in that 7?
Well, you'd have to ask them, because to me, what I was thinking before Latson committed, was like, well, you're losing 2 of your starting backcourt. Maybe Raven comes back, maybe she doesn't. Obviously, there was a scenario where Maddie McDaniel was at least considering entering the transfer portal. She decided to come on back. So it's like, okay, well, if Raven leaves, she starts. If not, she'll be the top backup at the point. And then you have Tessa Johnson, Malaysia Fulwiley ready to step in to replace Bree Hall, Tahina Pow. Hey, everything's easy, right? Well, with Latson coming in, 25 points a game, you're not going to recruit a player like that and not play her.
Right.
I'm not saying she's going to start. I think that would be a pretty good assumption, though. So that takes one spot. Who else do you want as that third guard? To me, it comes down to Tessa Johnson or Malaysia Fulwiley, and I think it could depend what you want from game to game. Do you want your three-point shooter who can also drive to the basket, handle the ball real well? You go with Tessa. Do you want to overwhelm your opponent with speed right off and try to put them in a hole early with some razzle-dazzle, and then while you get them rest, you bring in your subs and your bigs to control what you have? You start Fulwiley. The main thing about, with Malaysia, and it's just part of her game, there's going to be some games where it's like, ooh, why'd you do that? You gotta hold on the ball a little bit better, that kind of thing. So we'll see what happens there. I don't think that there are any hurt feelings at this point. And what really helps there, Malaysia Fulwiley knows Latson.
Yeah.
And she knows how good she was with her at AAU. And then she knows there's going to be some times where Raven got in foul trouble. Raven's not feeling well. Raven's not doing well in the game today. Get on in there and show us what you could do. And there'll be times where Lay knows she's going to save the day. Look at the Maryland game.
Yeah.
So there's going to be games like that. I don't think there's any hurt feelings at this point. We're around 24 hours since it was announced. So if we hear something, I would anticipate being in another 24 hours. But again, I'm not anticipating anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate it either. But I think one thing this does do, David, I know we've had we're trying to, figure out who might crack the starting lineup. But this, to me, at least with all the guards you have and the log jam that this has kind of created, is also maybe giving you some flexibility to present a lineup that nobody else in the sport can maybe match. And that is my hypothetical death lineup that's got Joyce at the 5, and you play 4 of those guards that we talked about. I think it is an absolute spacing nightmare for defenses, especially since Joyce can maybe play on the perimeter a little bit. She showed in that Texas game that if you put a big on her, 20 feet away from the basket, she's going to take that big off the dribble and still get to the rim. How much of a likelihood do you think that is with Dawn and this coaching staff that maybe we can get outside the box with lineups here?
Likely, I don't know. I mean, I think they would have to see a good month or so of summer prep to see if that would work if you wanted to roll with it consistently. However, they have rolled with a 4-guard, 1 big lineup before. It was in the 2017 NCAA tournament, and that turned out rather well for South Carolina. So now the big in that scenario was A'ja Wilson.
Okay. That helps a lot when you have the best player in the world as
that,
your big.
That does, but they had to do that because right before the tournament started, Elena Coates hurt. Was it her ankle or her foot? It was a lower leg injury, and she wasn't going to play. The whole tournament was like, all right, what do you do here? And the simple solution was, okay, you messed around with this a little in the SEC. You moved Bianca Cuevas more back into the starting lineup. She had been replaced by Ty Harris at point guard. You put both of them back there. You slide Alicia Gray. Well, she stayed in her same spot. Kayla Davis became more of a stretch 4 instead of a straight shooting guard. And then you got Big Girl in the middle. So that worked rather well. Could run up and down the floor with anybody. I think if that option is there, they'll certainly look at it because you're going to have speed. But you also got to have that offense work within the flow and also saying, you know what happens? You're a basketball guy. You're going to play speed. You're going to give up a lot of transition buckets. So what's going to be the pace here? And especially now that you kind of have that target there, okay, everything you do, is it geared toward beating UConn? Or are you going to go there and say, like, you can beat anybody else, but those are the ones? Say, okay, well, let's see what happens because they do go to UConn again next year.
DC hanging out with us here for a bit. We're at Pro Swing on Forest Drive. We got some baseball to discuss. Paul Maneri's team with a couple of big dingers last night, including a grand slam. So somebody won some money last night.
Somebody did, and it wasn't me.
Yeah.
So that means if you're listening and you entered the contest, it may be you.
Well, yeah, I hope you're listening. I hope you paid attention to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's a way to win some money.
Well, if not, I think Terry just takes it.
Yeah, in that there's speculation. We might have to do our own investigation on that one.
We'll get into some baseball, some men's basketball too. Still one announcement we're waiting for. I don't think it's any big deal. I want to see what David thinks about that. We'll discuss. And the Braves won last night.
They did. Don't call it a comeback.
Hey, it's a one-game
been here for years.
So one-game win streak, my man. So one-game win streak.
Well,
but
you won a game yesterday.
They did it on Hank
Win
Aaron.
Today, that's 2 in a row. When tomorrow, it's a winning streak.
We'll see.
It has happened before.
We'll see. Live at Pro Swing on Masters Eve, you're listening to the postgame show. New set of wheels in your future now, soon. Well, check out Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. Get some great low rates lower than the big banks. And listen, right now we know we're in kind of an uncertain rate environment, but it doesn't change the need for a new car or a used car or whatever you might need in your family. No better place than Palmetto Citizens. They offer the same low rates on all new to 21 models, great options for older vehicles, and many of the plans come with no payments for up to 90 days. Plus, if you're getting something new, they can finance over 100% of the retail or purchase price. And they offer additional coverage and insurance options that dealerships can't beat. My wife and I have been members at Palmetto Citizens for several years now. Really enjoyed the experience of signing things up and getting it going. So check out your next car, then check with Palmetto Citizens, see how much you can save. You can log on right now and learn more at palmettocitizens.org. 18 minutes after 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. Welcome back into the post-game show. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell, Ed Bird at Master Control downtown, a couple miles away from us. Our good friend David Cloninger hanging out like me. He doesn't live too far away, so nice to have DC come by and hang out here in the neighborhood at Pro Swing on Forest Drive, directly next door, same building to Bonefish, across the street from the Big Lowe's Foods. Easy to find us. Come say hey.
Fried shrimp and bonefish.
We're busy out here right now. All bays currently busy, but you can get on the putting green. And our buddy Rhett is over here giving free. You heard me right. It's FREE, free.
That spells free.
30-minute swing evaluation. It took him 30 seconds to look at me and go, you know what, dude, just don't worry about it.
I'm sure if I got up there and he'd be like, you know what, Charles Barkley is a better swing than you. I'm like, I know.
Well, Elijah and I were joking because there's like an AI caddy on the Golf Zone simulators here, and the guy, tells you a few things here and then. And so as I got going in my first 4 or 5 holes, it was like, my grandfather is better than you, things like that.
I hope it's like the apparently the caddies over at the old course in St. Andrews. They're like just classic. And, they'll rip on you every time. Like one I heard was, damn you, sir. I said draw it, not hook it.
Right. Yeah, but I got going. But no, I love these things. And you got more than 200 courses to choose from, and they've got all kinds of great membership levels and options, and they're here 7 days a week. It's a whole lot of fun. So good stuff. Come see us. We'll have more. We'll talk to Rhett in a little bit and try to get, Michael and Nathan, but apparently they're busy doing the integrated media stuff today. So they didn't have time for us.
They're too busy making money.
Yeah, well.
That's
Like,
not,
would you like
that's
to
not
make
what
money?
we do here in this business.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know what that term means. Making money, like you're creating it.
Okay, I'm not. Maybe some people would try to manifest this, David, talk it into existence or some such. What I'm getting ready to ask you, and again, I have no speculation, I have no inside, I have no outside knowledge. But we haven't heard an official announcement from Colin Murray Boyles.
Right.
Why?
Well, I think we all know right now that he's going to go through the process, and that's what he should do. That's what it's there for, and that gives him more time and able to talk to NBA people, talk to scouts, coaches, GMs, whoever, and be able to really get a full view on what he's going to do. Because of all the speculations coming out about, oh, I've got him pegged here, I'm going pegged here. It doesn't mean anything unless you hear it from a real NBA guy. So when he makes an announcement, the first one I expect to say, I'm going to go through the process and retain my eligibility. In terms of the latest I've heard on him, I think it's pretty fair to say, like, okay, if he's below a first round prospect, he's going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And he should. Where in that first round what does he need to hear in that first round to say, I'm going to go? Is it got to be, I got to be a lottery pick? Do I got to be top 10? Do I got to be within 20 to 30? Whatever it's got to be.
And what's lottery 15?
It is
14. Okay.
So I'm sure that will play a big part in it. But I'll say Colin really likes being here. He's a Columbia kid. He likes being in school. He's very happy with the NIL stuff he's getting, with his playing time, with playing for Lamont. Of course, I mean, there's obviously some other considerations there too. He's very happy here. So it's going to take a true life-changing offer to not come back. But he's probably finishing up school, having some fun. He was in Tampa this weekend, cheering on the team and his girlfriend from the stands. And it's always good to see that kid. And he's like, hey, I'll announce everything when I'm ready to do.
So on that note, then, from Lamont's perspective, I know he's okay with this because of who the player is and what he means to the program and the city and that kind of thing. But does that hamper their ability in the portal?
I don't think so. I mean, you're not going to find a player that does everything that Colin does. If you're looking for fellow power forwards, fellow big men, of course, you're going out there looking for those, and that's fine. They still have 4 open scholarships to fill. But they know, I'm sure that they tell all those kids, they're not going to recruit a kid to say, all right, we're going to play you if Colin leaves. They're not going to say that. It's going to be like, look, we've got this kid. He may come back. He may not, but he's going to recruiting like he's going to be here. So that's what you need to know right now. And if that hurts them on occasion, they're fine with that. They're saying, okay, that's good. Obviously they've done very well in the portal so far, but they still need to get a lot of guys, because now it's to the point of where you've lost so much, you got to start building just numbers. You got to have enough guys to practice out there. And once the House settlement gets approved and they'll officially say you've got a 15-man roster limit instead of the 13 that you had, you can go out and really start seeing who you have. But there's plenty of time to build the roster. Of course, like I said before, NIL deals have to be, presented to not catch the clearinghouse before July 1st. And I believe there's an April date in there that says like, okay, we've got to have them by then to just know what we're looking at. So, it's, I know people want to have it now and ready to go. It's like this is going to take a while. When you're rebuilding so much of a roster, this is what you have to do.
Well, and on the House settlement alone, Judge Wilkin, is going to hear. She gave him a week, so she's going to have another hearing in her courtroom on Monday. She's not going to have a final decision on Monday.
No, certainly not.
So
it certainly seems as if what she said, it's like, I think if we've got a good framework, if I hear this, this, and this, yeah, okay,
right.
So yeah, all right,
right.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting new world, and to where, you don't just walk in the living room anymore and greet mama and grandma. Here's my agent. Here's my handler. Here's my NIL representative.
This is how much I'm valuated at.
Yes. Here are my brand figures. Here's what my Instagram followers look like. So, yeah, I really don't know how the staff does it. I talk to them, regularly, I'd say. And I'm like, I love what you guys do. And I think you're doing a great job, but I don't envy it. I do not envy all the work that you have to do.
That reminds me of a story. And I saw it not too long ago. Kevin Garnett being recruited when he wasn't sure, what they wanted to listen to collegiate offers at least. And he, at the time, was living with his grandmother. And you probably heard this story, David, but he was telling it to Dan Patrick. And he didn't say what school. He just said a recruiter came in. It didn't say a coach either. He just said a recruiter. A recruiter came in and basically offered cash money, like on the spot in front of grandma. And the grandma got up and literally pulled out a shotgun.
Oh my God.
And said, we don't do that around here. We earn things. We talk about what it is that we're going to be doing. And then she, and the guy looked at Kevin and KG said, like, what do I do now? He goes, you better get on up out of here.
You better leave. But yeah, because that gun is loaded.
But so
this is some Malden stuff. You don't know nothing about.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I love that story. Like, because that she was serious. She's like, no. We're not here to be bought. We're here to listen to what it is that you would like to provide my grandson.
Right.
And he's just, whoever this recruiter was. And I'd love to know one day, like, who that was. But anyway.
Does his name start with D and end with L Brown?
Just
asking questions.
I mean, notorious for having minions who
had some history down here.
Yeah. With Stanley. Well, of course, then Jim Childers just became a top level assistant.
Weird. How that works.
Why not? Right? Why not? Those were the days, though. Yeah, that was when I was in high school. Columbia basketball was awesome. But anyway, I don't want to do old dude stuff. What's the they've gotten a couple of portal things already, and as you mentioned, they're still looking at this point. Is there one positional priority now over another, or they want it all?
I mean, they're looking for everything. I mean, obviously, you need to go find a true point guard.
Yeah.
Michi was brought in with the understanding, rebrought in, that it's like, we're going to keep you where you're natural at the two, because as much as I like Michi and he can still be effective, you don't want him at point guard. You don't want him to have to handle the ball and score.
Not a strength.
And so you got to go get a point guard, and you could never have enough height, especially as the game is trending. Elijah, you're an NBA guy. Everybody in the NBA has to be big and shoot. Now, which is why
2 requirements.
You're seeing a guy like Colin Murray-Bowes like, why are you shooting threes? And like, oh, well, that's why, for the next level. So that's what you got to go try to get. And they're trying to get as many people as they possible. But at this moment, it's just a case of like, build the roster, get the best players that you can, and then try to figure out, okay, where can we cherry pick a few more guys when the next portal window opens?
That's what makes the Colin thing really fascinating from South Carolina's perspective, and maybe what might hinder them more so than a team like LSU, who is just, completely wiping it out. Matt McMahon can build that roster in his own image. Lamont has to have kind of like a plan A and a plan B, because when you have Colin on the roster, the offense really flows through Colin because he is such a good passer, right? And having, it's important to have like shooters around Colin. I think that's one thing with the roster this year that I didn't love. You didn't have enough knockdown 3-point shooters around Colin to be able to separate or spread defenses out a little bit too. With the guys they brought in now, I love Eaglestaff because that kid can absolutely light it up. I'm intrigued with Kobe Knox. it's one of those things too that, if you have Colin, that maybe amplifies the guys you bring in. If you don't have Colin, then you have to really use those 4 roster spots for guys who are going to create for others. That's a pretty big void.
And also because they are freshmen and they're good freshmen, they trust them a lot. It's like you don't want to throw too much at them too soon.
Right.
You've seen how this league was this year, and it's only going to be better next year. So you say everybody knows who Eli Ellis is, and most confident kid in the world. He's like, yeah,
Not
man,
lacking there.
I'm gonna come in there and score 30 a game, no problem. I'm like, okay, you better get a pair of stilts if you're going to do that. But I mean, you love the confidence that he's not going to be afraid, but you also need to protect him a little bit and say you're a volume scorer, you're a volume shooter, and that's probably not going to happen here. There's a way that you got to do things to take advantage of your current best player, and then we'll bring you along. So those are the kind of things that you do have to balance. You mentioned Knox. Where do you work in Polk? Where do you work in, I think I'm saying around Simeon? And say, here we go. And, that's the coach's job. So Jeremiah Donati said, we're going to give him what he needs to support. You're seeing the evidence of that right now because the North Dakota kid, Eagle Staff, great name.
A fantastic name.
Yeah.
Those jerseys should fly off racks
A lot
this year.
of schools wanted him.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about,
No, Kansas and Kentucky amongst. I mean, I saw Kansas, Kentucky, Gonzaga.
Yeah. And honestly,
So
when he committed, I was like,
that's a
okay,
get.
be careful. That's not an AI fake or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's
No,
a
he's
get.
coming. Okay, great. So, yeah, they're going to have those guys. And, it's what a Lamont team needs to look like. We saw it 2 years ago. A bunch of guys between 6'3" and 6'9" that can all shoot.
Yeah.
And they can all shoot 3-pointers. And I know that people like to rag on Jordan Butler. But it's like he is the prototypical big man for a Lamont system. A guy that can get in there and rebound the fool out of it and then go out and shoot threes. Just this year, it's like there was so much else going on that needed to be fixed. It's like, what can you do with him? And he showed a little bit at the end of the season, but still it was, I think I got this right. He shot 44 threes and he made 3 2-point buckets.
Oh, my.
At 7 foot.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
2 of them might have been one game.
Lots more to do. DC hanging out with us here at Pro Swing off Forest Drive, Masters Eve. We'll be right back.
I haven't heard that much, but I would not be surprised if that happened. There was a reason that it was the women's stuff, but there was a reason why the front row behind me.
Well, my bad. It's time for a live read here. Sorry about that, Ed Bird. Cato's Power Equipment, ready to help you out with all of your lawn needs, your landscaping needs, whether you do it for yourself, you do it for a living. See Cato's for great sales, service, and advice. Got my new Flex Force Toro battery-powered stuff. Loving it. And making my job a whole lot easier to make the yard look good all spring, summer, and fall, really all year long. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard is where they are, and always online at catospowerequipment.com. Check out Ben, Matt, and the crew today and see the beautifully remodeled showroom. Whether you do it for yourself, you do it for a living, Cato's in business since the 1980s, ready to help you out with all of it. That's Cato's Power Equipment, 4012 West Beltline. Some off-season hoops. Both men's and women's basketball teams around South Carolina. Portal additions. Maybe portal departures. Don't think so. I think the ones that we've heard about might be the only ones, but you never know. And again, the portal window doesn't close for a couple more weeks, so still time for folks to evaluate all those things. Jay and Elijah hanging out with you. David Cloninger, our very good friend, and little Matt is here hanging out too. We'll talk to Matt later on, see what he wants to talk about.
I think he's got some portal insight.
How his soccer team's doing.
Well, he's we're 0-3, three scoreless losses. That's okay.
Sure,
we're
sure.
learning.
Sure.
We're learning, and you just got to realize it's saying like, okay, buddy, just you got to run that way. Okay,
Are they still doing amoeba soccer, as I call it?
A little bit, but there was one where he ran out there and he had a fast break, and I'm like, this is it. He's gonna kick it in, and he decided to pick up the ball. I was like,
Yeah.
All right, hey, we're
He said efficiency is picking it up and throwing it into the net instead of just kicking it. I'm having an easier time doing that.
but he's doing good. And I did ask a friend because they handed us the jerseys at the first game.
Yeah.
So I was looking through them, and they were real weird, like 90 through 99 with a 1 for the goalie. I said, all right, well, your dad was an awful goalie. Awful. So we're not taking that one. But 99, that's
there you
that's
go.
Wild Thing, right? So I gave it to him, and then I hit up my friend like, hey, man, any famous soccer players ever wear 99? He's like, Ronaldo did when he was with AC Milan. I'm like, boom, right there.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
So we got Matt Wild Thing Cloninger in here.
Nice. He'll be fine. But amoeba soccer, I still remember that with all the kids just follow the ball. Both
The
sides.
ball is the Pied Piper.
Yeah.
We got the sign up today for flag football. I'm like,
All right.
okay, we can do that.
Where are they playing flag football?
I didn't see the park name, but it's through the Y.
Okay.
So it's like May through June or May through early July.
Okay.
So, yeah, okay. Well, we'll
That
see what
sounds fun.
happens. Yeah, it's actually May through mid-July because they're taking off for the 4th.
I hope that the games are at like 6 a.m. That's all.
It will be rather warm out there. So if they're at the Columbia Rec Fields out by the airport, like where they play soccer, I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know.
that's a long hike
Yeah.
to and from the car.
They've done a nice job with those fields. So.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball wins last night, and look, you should. You go to A&M, just like State. They're struggling, although more of late A&M took 2 of 3 from the Vols, including a run rule win over the Vols, if I'm not mistaken. So, I'm not here to say, hey, David, predict how this is going to go down. It's really more matter now, I think, of trying to settle in on who's going to do what in all kinds of roles between injury or lack of production. Paul messed with the lineup a little. I say mess with, I don't mean it in a negative way, but it tinkered with the lineup for a couple of days last week, then went back to it. Interestingly enough, when he put, and I'm not saying this is why, you put Nathan back into the leadoff spot and they didn't win. I don't, it's almost like Paul just really can't seem to catch a break with what he's trying to get out of some of these guys.
Well, I get it. And obviously you can't help more injuries. I mean, you announced last night, Talmadge LaCroix's got to get a shot in his hip. And I'm like, oh, man. And that's just bad luck to where you come in and you know that you're concerned about the catching situation. And like, we've got 4 guys and, there's no one clear-cut starter, and LaCroix wins the job. It's like, oh, well, he fractures his hand in the second game, fractures his thumb. And then you got this, like, man, come on. But to me, it's always been a case of like, look, you knew you didn't have a wealth of talent coming in the season. You knew you had a couple of pieces. Nathan Hall became a great leadoff hitter. Why are you messing with it at all?
Right.
Just pick a lineup and stick with it. Let them play through it. There just doesn't need to be, in my opinion, all the random herky-jerky, okay, we're going to do this. I'm like, guys, just pick a lineup and stay with it. And then, to me, as I mentioned on the show before, you knew, again, that you weren't going to have a great depth of pitchers. You had some decent options, but when you're spending your off season between fall practice and the real season starting, trying to recruit every pitcher you can, and you can't get anybody, it's like, okay, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to help your defense, specifically your pitching, by maybe extending at-bats, extending games, trying to get everything you can out of your offense. And so what? They go back to the old system of like, hey, be aggressive up there. Like, guys, work at bat, working at bat. And that's always going to be extenuating circumstances. I know every time somebody hits like a first pitch homer or a double, they're like, it was the first pitch.
There it is.
I know.
Right.
But fact is, man, you've got to do something to help it out. it doesn't quite get into my tried and true belief of like, look, there's only one reason to ever lose a baseball game. That's if you get no hit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, there are things that you can do to help yourself overcome the odds and say, I can do this. I can lean into a pitch. I can force the issues on the base pass, things like that. But it's just not quite that way. Again, he didn't walk into a great talented team. But right now, Jay, you're 2-10 in the league. So you are on the literal season on the brink.
Mm-hmm.
You go out there and lose this series to a team that began the year ranked number one and has really struggled. Like, it's probably going to be real difficult to make the postseason now. I think that you always kind of set that benchmark of 13-17 in the league gets you in, and it should. Okay, let's just say you lose the series this week, and let's just say you're 3-12.
You're not going 10-5.
You're going to go 10-5. No. I don't know. You do get to play Florida. That's a good
schedule break.
But man, I mean, there's so much else in there. Like, oh boy.
Too bad you don't get Missouri.
Yeah,
that's the most unfortunate.
Because they're terrible.
Well, and so somebody said, he's a guy who's been with Gamecock baseball as long as I have. He's like, I still can't believe how bad this team is, and yet they're still not the worst in the conference.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
If y'all didn't hear last night, by the way, Missouri did win. They beat SIU Edwardsville last night, but they committed 8 errors. Scored 11 runs, but they committed 8.
Yeah, speaking of soccer, I mean, kicking the ball all around the field.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those where you hope a switch gets turned on and all of a sudden you just find something that enables you to play a lot better. But you've had to switch your Friday starter in and out 3 or 4 times. You've had to switch your lineup nearly every game. What more can you do? I realize you're grasping at every straw you can, but at this point, it's like, look, man, set the lineup and go with it. And say, this is it. Win or lose, come up with a uniform hitting approach and say, if every game got to last 4.5 hours, that's just what you're going to have to do to try to give yourself a chance to win. Nobody cares how long it lasts as long as you get the W. But, man, there's just there's some other things about this baseball team just from this past weekend. One, it didn't happen, but you could have had to forfeit a game because you wrote a wrong name on the lineup card.
Right.
Didn't happen, but it could have.
Right.
And the umpires would have been well within their right to say, yeah, you're right. Game over. And you just had to lump it.
Yeah.
And then.
And some coaches may hold you to that.
I realize a pitcher or the guy made his own decision. It was not a decision from the dugout. But it's like, he came up and said, well, I saw a third baseman playing way back, and I figured, why not try to drop a bunt in there? I'm like, good thinking, except I know if I'd homered on my first 2 at-bats that game, why are you thinking bunt at all? Because right now the ball is looking like a beach ball coming to the plate. I mean, it drives me crazy when it's like, guys, you got to let the game help you a little bit, okay? Concentrate on the fundamentals. Concentrate on what you can do to win that at-bat. And that's not doing it. And again, when they asked Paul after the game, he's like, yeah, I wish he would have asked me about that. Right. Like, yeah, that's not a good thing either. So, but again, it does all go back. I don't know if anybody expected this team to be a great one, but we did expect the postseason.
Well, you always expect, again, you should,
that's the minimum.
Yeah, again, I have my own standard that I've talked about, but even if I wanted to lower that, it would not be lowering it to the point of saying, oh, you didn't make the playoffs? That's cool. No big deal. Lots more to do with David. There was maybe a bright spot when it comes to some roster news from Coach Mainieri last night. We'll get into that for you. And again, a little bit later on, a football discussion that I want you all to be thinking about, and you can participate with us here too. And no wrong answers. Well, maybe 1 or 2. No, I'm kidding. Which football team this coming season needs it more in the SEC? Needs a big year of improvement, enhancement. We'll get into all those things and more. We're live at Pro Swing here on Forest Drive. Come see us on the postgame show. 11 minutes in front of 4 o'clock on a Wednesday. Welcome back in. It's the post-game show live at Pro Swing Forest Drive location. They got one in Chapin as well. Rhett's out here giving some free swing evaluations, he tried to say in English. And again, my AI caddy was saying things to me, like, why are you playing the game still? You should give it up.
Well, did he say that, you probably said, you must be the worst caddy in the world, to which he'd respond, that, sir, would be entirely too great of a coincidence.
I did all right. Again, I didn't really do all right.
After hole 9, it's like, sir, have you tried cross stitching?
Yeah. The first 8 holes were kind of brutal. They were kind of brutal. But the last 10 were better. And then I finished with 2 pars, and that was
That's why I didn't have, when Josh Hellman and I were here taking some swings at it, that we just did it the practice round where it was just hole 7 at Pebble Beach.
The par 3.
And, I maybe took about 55 to 60 shots, and maybe about 4 of them actually landed on the green. But if I had the AI caddy, I probably been roasted into oblivion. And you know what? I don't need that.
Well, and you did see, now there's only 3, but you did see that 3 of my putts, like, literally just stayed right on the edge of the cup. Right,
Sat there.
Just sat there. Like, I was like, "Come on,
wind
man."
couldn't help you out any.
That would have been
giving you a boost.
That would have been something. But now I finished. I shot. I don't mind saying it. I shot a 104, but it was because I was already 20 over after 8 holes,
which means you were only 14 over.
The rest. It might have been more like 20. It might have been more like 24 over the rest, because I did all right. I really did.
Back-to-back pars to end the round.
Yeah, back 9 was better.
Salvages a little bit.
But I hadn't played in a while. Anyway, a little bit of good news, David. Dylan Eskew is at least ready to go again. That doesn't mean he will go again this weekend. He'll travel. But
I think you'd want to use him in a relief role, just so you don't strain him right away.
Right.
I mean, I would not expect him to start this weekend and just say, I mean, it's great that he's be able to come back, because it might be that, the original injury didn't look great. But, just take it easy with him.
Becker is pitching better as well. I don't know what that means for the weekend.
Matt Becker will be out there at some point.
Yeah.
He will be, and you just hope that it goes well.
That you get the best version of him.
Yeah, it's so weird trying to figure it out, because he's got the stuff, but it's just, come on, man, let's put it together, man. It kind of reminds me of a Tom Glavine, 1991 to 1995. If he got through the first inning, it was going to be okay. But every time he'd get tagged for a run or two, or it's just, hey, you're going along great, the guy bloops a single in there, and you're like, oh boy. And all of a sudden you start trying to spot your pitches, like, come on, man, just throw it. But it's, again, you came in and you knew you didn't have Maddox and Smoltz out there in the starting rotation. You had who you had, and a lot of those guys have done well. Right. But you've got to just, hey, let's try to get a consistent rotation here, consistent pitching performance. Some of these big innings, man, they're just killing you. They kill you.
Well, it feels to me their number one thing, and I don't know that you really do much about it the rest of the way. You hope to, but the walks are killing them from a pitching perspective.
Yeah, I mean, they're never good, right?
No.
And it's just you can't go out there and do something when you're walking in runs, or just putting guys on base, and then you put more pressure on your bullpen. So it's one of those where Terry Rooney's got to be saying, if these guys can't get outs by just throwing the ball over the plate, I'll eat my hat. But then you hear bang, another bullpen ball going to the wall, and you're like, oh, come on, guys. Throw it over the plate. And do I have to bring up the Branch Rickey story here, especially when walks are involved?
Right.
Yeah, every spring training, Branch Rickey would tape a $1 bill into a catcher's mitt, hit the mitt, win the buck. Not one ever missed.
Right.
Not one.
Right.
And he would say, see, pitching is
line.
concentration. That's all it is. Control is concentration. So, you just have to hope they remember that.
And that was back when $1 meant something.
Right. I mean, back when we could at least get you a McChicken.
Don't worry, there's some lovely new tariffs coming down the park. It's going to be terrible.
That's good. Yeah, that's right. We'll all be fine at that point in time. Gamecocks at A&M this weekend. We'll have them for you, of course, right here on the game and across the Gamecock Radio Network. Again, the Braves won last night.
They did. It
On
was a
Hank
baseball
Aaron
game.
Day.
7-5
That
on
was-
Hank Aaron Day. They were losing,
there
and I
was
was
a
like,
comeback.
"Don't lose on
There
Hank
there
Aaron
was a
Day."
comeback, and yeah, it was
It's a bad defense by the
impressive.
Phillies as
Yeah.
well.
I
Phillies
do
spotted
blame
Joe Ryan.
myself, but it couldn't be helped because I was on the road for opening day. I got a magnetic standing board
Yeah.
at home, and so anytime where it's got today's games, I'm not going to do the whole major leagues, but I just put who the Braves are playing. And generally, if I do that, it's pretty good luck. This time, I forgot to do it before I went. So 1 and
You
7
ruined
to
it.
start. That's all on me. It's all on me.
It is your fault. Where and well, you do have the hat. Okay, I say, where's
Cap.
the hat? But
Cap.
cap.
Don't you ever
Sorry,
play baseball?
I know. Yeah, I did play baseball. David's old school. All right, we got some football to discuss. We're at Pro Swing. A little bit later on, we're going to talk to Rhett Finney about how he can help you improve your golf game. You can do it secretly too, and then go like just toast your buddies out on the course. Hour 2 coming up. 4:00 on this Wednesday. Welcome back in. It's the post-game show. Second hour coming at you from Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell, David Cloninger hanging out here with us. Terry Ford is running things back at Master Control over that way. That's where you are, Ford. Just trust me. I'm pointing in the right direction. Terry just left here. And
Yeah, I couldn't confirm it. I left my compass at home.
well, Terry had to leave because he was dazzled by my golf game. He just won't admit it.
I'm
He
sure
was so
dazzled
impressed.
I
was
was
the term
scared
that
you're
he
going to
would
hit me
use.
with a ball.
Well, it wasn't for a lack of trying, Ford.
Yeah, especially when he throws it.
No, I played Spyglass. Again, as I said, the other course out at Pebble Beach. But I did again. Back nine was better.
Do they have the Rock Hill putt on there? Because I was
They
a boss
don't
on that
know.
course.
I think it's
They
going to be
don't
on one of the
yet.
new Golf Zone updates.
Okay, so I nailed 5 aces in a row. One lovely.
They
afternoon.
do. They do have. And I should have pulled it up for you. You've seen it. They do have like a course for kids, and it's sort of a golf course meets like a putt. It has like fun little castles and
It's got,
Stuff.
yeah, it almost looks like you're playing golf in Mario World.
or like Candyland or something. Yeah.
Or if you're going to the Myrtle Beach Strip and just kind of
one of those.
down,
Yeah.
I mean, and playing every course you can.
Yeah.
Boy, those are fun though. I played the pyramid. I played the Dinosauria or whatever. But there was one day, it's like my wife and I went there and got there about 9 a.m. and then just went up and down and played every course we could find. You take
that's a
beer breaks in the
marathon,
middle,
yeah.
take meals, and then at the end of the day you count up your aggregate. Like, okay, I shot about a 327. Par was probably around 360. Nah, it wasn't that much. It probably would have been around 300.
Well, usually, I mean, most of those are par two, right?
two shot.
Yeah, they get you the tricky one that's a 3.
Yeah, but those
Yeah.
water hazards.
Going to traps.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't played one of those at Myrtle Beach in years. I used to do it a bunch. Of course, you could back when I was growing up, it's like $10 all day. It's like, well, nobody's going out there all day in the afternoon because then like at 6 o'clock is when it switches over to like $5 a game.
Yeah, because there was always
'Cause,
3
there's
courses.
people. Yeah.
So you'd go down there and have your buddy put his hand in the hole
Right,
number
to
18,
block
just
it.
the ball, or
To block it.
then you just look up and sneak over to the other one. No one's looking.
Statute of limitations is over. You're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. But yeah, it's too hot to play all day. You got to go at night. That's why the nighttime prices were good. Anyway,
That's
Putting
when it's the
at
best
night.
to play.
yeah,
He was night
that's right.
putting.
Yes, it was night putting. He was putting at night. That's exactly right. Do want to remind you we're out here at Pro Swing today. Our buddy Rhett Finney, we'll talk to in a little bit, is giving free. Y'all heard me right. Now listen, free 30-minute swing evaluations. And you might say, well, why, who is Rhett? Okay, Rhett works for the Ledbetter Academy, which is one of the finest golf instructional schools in the world. I don't even want to say in America. I'd say on the planet.
globe.
On the planet. And he is a certified instructor and a PGA member, so he knows what he is doing. Right now, Pro Swing is also offering discounted practice rates with the purchase of any lesson package. And remember this, you can go to Augusta on Sunday. If you play 2 full hours anytime until Friday afternoon, you get your name in to win 2 tickets to Sunday's final round at Augusta.
That's when the magic happens.
You heard me right. And again, there's so much more. Listen, if you just want to come over here with your buddies and have a couple of beers and play a round of golf on Golf Zone, you can. But one of the things about this place, y'all, seriously, there are so many teaching tools and instructional tools that come in. I mean, they're seriously literal laser guided system to measure spin rate, club head speed, all kinds of different analytic. I mean, it's an analytics driven world in sports these days.
Oh, every bit of information you want to know about your swing and the ball that you just hit, you get it.
It's got it. They got 2 cameras. They got overhead camera. They got side view camera. And again, every little bit of info. So if you're somebody that wants to get better, maybe you're a member at a club and you really do want to win the club championship. If you are listening to us right now and you're a high school coach or a high school golfer's parent, you can get in here and really learn a lot about your game. And these Golf Zone simulators aren't not just hitting it into a big sheet with a screen. The green pivots and moves, fairway. If you got a side hill lie, you'll be hitting a side hill lie. There are 2 cuts of rough. There's both bunker sand and then like fairway trap sand. It's fantastic. I mean, automatic tees. I love this thing. And if I could afford one at my house, I would get one.
I've been thinking every time I come here and I play a little bit, I'm like, imagine just having this like in your like your bonus room or something.
Yeah.
Like, you
Well, if you can afford it, they'll do it for you.
they'll do it for you. Yeah,
In fact, they were doing one today. Michael Geddes of Pro Swing / Integrated Media sent me a picture of someone who can afford it, getting one installed in their home today.
When I win the lottery, I'm getting one.
Oh, when I get one, I'm gonna get two.
For multiple rooms, yeah.
That's right. I'm getting two when I win the lottery.
What's better than one of these bad boys?
That's
Two
right.
of them.
I might just come in here and rent Pro Swing for like a week. Why not? Why not? No, seriously, this place is great, and of course, Chapin location has all these things too. But come out here and see us. And again, if you get 2 hours, two full hours of golf here at Pro Swing by Friday afternoon, you'll be entered. And at 5:30 on our show Friday, we'll be drawing that winner. And again, that winner is going to Augusta on Sunday.
They'll get to see somebody.
Somebody don the jacket.
Get a jacket. Yeah, get a new article of clothing for their closet.
That's right. It's very, very nice. Very, very nice indeed. All right, so I want to get into a little something. We've talked a lot of football. And by the way, if you didn't hear the breaking news yesterday, and I think we need to call, we better call and get this confirmed with the boss.
Yes.
All right. That's all I'm saying. But maybe we'll try to get him on the show later in the week.
Yeah, exactly. And then that could be count as like the meeting before the coaches meeting
Yeah.
because us coaches we have to.
That's
prepare
right.
for this type of
But
stuff.
if you didn't hear yesterday, while we were right around this time, Elijah was just kind of saying, I'm going to be doing sideline reporting, and David, you'll be interested in this because it could make or break the entire program.
Probably break it.
Elijah will be sideline reporting on our airwaves next Friday night for the spring game. And Elijah was like, I want to call a play. I want to call a play at the spring game. I was like, that's a good idea. So I picked up my phone live on the air and texted somebody who works in the football building. And I said, hey, Elijah's going to do sideline. Do you think he could call a play? And this person texted back within a couple of minutes with capital letters, YES. So, I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to Elijah. And so now, David, officially, if you wanted to if you wanted to go right, instead of being a guest on the radio with us like you are, if you wanted to turn into a beat writer right now, you could interview an assistant coach.
I'm only going to interview him if he calls 20 halfback curl X up. You know what 20 halfback curl X up is?
I don't, but it's in the playbook.
It's the last offensive player at Super Bowl 23. And he looked at
okay. See, it'll be considered.
That's
I've got a deep
is
playbook.
it the John Taylor?
That's it.
Yeah. Nice. I remember.
19 seconds.
I remember where I was.
As do I.
Yeah.
Back when the 49ers were interested in winning Super Bowls.
Yeah, they were.
They're very.
It's right
interested.
there, buddy. You go right in that room right there. They'll take you in there. There you go. No,
They're very interested in going to Super Bowls. Maybe not as interested.
We'll let
in
David go
winning
be a dad for a second while he's doing that.
Take care of business.
Yeah. Well, just to make sure.
Let's make sure the business is taken.
But yeah, if you didn't hear, we'll try to reach out to the folks over there and see if somebody can't come on and just talk about it. Because again, now will you get a visor, a shirt?
Well, even if I'm not
play call
provided
sheet?
one, I'm going to at least wear one. I will cosplay.
Well, it's good that you should at least wear a shirt.
I'll wear the shirt. I'll wear my khaki pants.
Well, Steve Spurrier used to
shirt in, which is a big step for me.
Steve Spurrier used to be at practice shirtless, so you could technically.
Oh, that would be fun.
You could technically go out and be shirtless, and nobody would be like, "Oh, is that Coach Spurrier?" Oh no, that's just Elijah.
Yeah, that's just Elijah. At that point, it's just all understood that if I'm on the sidelines, I ain't wearing a shirt. Absolutely not. And when the play scores, because it's going to, when the play scores, the shirt will be removed. And I might tear the goalpost down myself. I know they come down now, so they don't have that problem, but I might tear it down myself.
Well, what you need to do is do they have the remote control kind? Is that what they like, the little switch?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what you do is you get over there and you do it, and then you have somebody just working with you behind the scenes.
I get on top of the crossbar and
let it come
pull
down.
it down.
Yeah. And you're like, hey, just let everybody know.
Just let everybody know. Yeah. That this is the play, So.
Well, and again, I'll be speaking of golf. I'll be in Hilton Head covering the Heritage, but I will want to see full video, audio, whatever it is that we're going to do.
It's going to be well documented.
Yeah.
I'm going to come into this with some tricks up my sleeve, And I got one shot and one opportunity.
Yeah.
And we're going to make the best of it, and we're going to score. Like that's the guarantee. This is going to be drawn up for 6 here.
I like it.
And
Maybe you could also. Well, never mind. Again, I don't want to say anything. We're just going to wait. If we can talk to the right people, we'll see what happens here. But I don't want, like I said yesterday, I don't want to taint the jury pool
of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave. But if you do have questions for what seems now to be an assistant coach,
Well, I mean, they didn't do the off the bench play last year.
no. So,
So I mean, I'm wondering if they're going to get that back in.
do you get to call that one?
Ooh, that would be fun.
All right. Maybe you can call a second play then, a real play and that play.
And so see the
We're also working on getting him a coaching,
play
like a
call.
prorated salary for the one play call.
It wouldn't be bad. Just asking for 1%. That's more than what we make in 3 years.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's just it. It's not even just for one. I mean, just if you took the number of plays that Mike Shula will call all year, spring game play calling plus the 12 games of the regular season and a bowl game and maybe more, and then prorate that to one play, what does Elijah get?
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thinks it's going to be like $45. I don't know. That was just a guess.
Could be it.
Yes.
$45 up to the GDP of Guam. Something like that.
Sure.
It can possibly be that too. I wouldn't say no to that. But I mean, it's certainly on the table. I might have to give Jimmy Sexton a call and say, hey, we're working through some serious negotiations here. I've heard you're the guy. So I mean, it's the Elijah Campbell coaching market is pretty hot. So for a one play spring game play caller.
So speaking of spring football, everybody's getting better. And Elijah and I were having our show meeting this morning, David, and as often happens, one thing led to another serendipitously. And I was like, one of the things I was talking about and thinking about was just, hey, who needs it more? Who needs to have a big season? And that, again, you can look at that in a number of different ways. Does that mean you have to make the CFP semifinal? No, it does not. Alabama didn't make the playoff. Does Alabama need a big season? Does that include just making the playoff? Does Georgia need to make it again? Does Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteers, do they need to win a game in the college football playoff to consider a bigger season? I have two. And they're not necessarily outside the box, but they're also not going to necessarily be the sexiest. Okay. But number one on my list is Auburn better do something good.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
They're
And
not paying him that amount of money.
he makes a lot of money.
7.
And I know Hugh Freeze is going through some things right now, and I hope he's going to be okay. And by all accounts, he's going to be. If you didn't hear, he's going through prostate cancer, but they caught it early, and he should be fine, which is great news. But he does make a lot of money, and he has high expectations, and it's Auburn. And as we've said before, bless their heart, as we say in the South, they only measure themselves against 2 schools. Doesn't matter what LSU is doing. Doesn't matter what Mississippi's doing. Florida, no. They measure themselves against Georgia and Alabama, and that's it. And we know how good Georgia and Alabama are.
And how not good Auburn has been.
And they've
last
got
several
to
years.
be better. And better does certainly mean, in my opinion, at least 8 wins, probably more like 9 or 10 wins.
They
And
gotta
you
at least
need
go
to
a
beat.
bowl game or something.
Well, you need to beat one of Georgia or Alabama, in my opinion, as well. I do firmly believe that. And the other one, speaking of coaches that make a lot of money, I don't want to say too much money because this is America and market's a market. But if Kentucky goes 4-8 again, then that's So those are my two. Like those two better elevate considerably next season.
I've got 8 schools with coaches potentially on a hot seat going into next year. But with Kentucky and Mississippi State, they're question marks.
Right.
Kentucky, I think if Stoops has another bad year, he'll probably just retire and say, hey, yeah, I'm gone. It's been a great career. I don't think he'll ready to get them fired. But Mississippi State would also be in that list.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll give him another year after, since it's just a second. But also after Auburn, I think my highest is Billy Napier in Florida.
Yeah.
Because now
It's
it's
on
like,
my list, yeah.
okay, you got yourself off the hot seat, but now you got to do better.
Right.
Because if you go back to you lose ways, got to go, buddy. Can't have that here.
Hold that tight. That's half of David's list. Elijah has his. But y'all weigh in on it. 803-404-6100, or you can hit us on the 1075 Twitter feed, which might be a little easier today for us.
Yeah, or the YouTube
Or the
stream. If you're
YouTube stream.
watching on YouTube.
That's right. Yeah,
If
hit
you
us up.
got
You know,
one,
who
drop
are
in those
yours?
comments.
And like I said, no real wrong answer here, but just from a perspective of last season and what they make, that's what we'll do. All right, lots of football to talk about, lots of golf to talk about. We're live at Pro Swing here on the postgame show. One of our top 5 bumps. Welcome back in. It's the post-game show live on a Wednesday afternoon, my dudes. We are at Pro Swing on Forest Drive. If you don't know where on Forest Drive that we are literally in the same building next door to Bonefish. So many of you, because Bonefish has been around a while, across the street from the Lowe's grocery store and the burger joint over there and all kinds of great stuff. But welcome back in. Terry Ford at Master Control. Rhett Finney is with us now. He is a PGA member and a Ledbetter Academy instructor, and he is this week here at Pro Swing giving you the amateur golfer, or hey, if you're a pro, you can come and do that. But I guess if you're a pro, you're probably busy this week somewhere. But Rhett is
you
giving,
might have something going
Rhett,
on.
well, they got tours. Rhett is giving you a free 30-minute swing evaluation. Now, I mean, listen, depending on who it is that you hire as an instructor, that's a significant value. He's doing it for free.
I love free stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, he's been busy all day long. He's got another appointment coming in here in just a minute. So we literally had to grab him here because he's got somebody coming in now in 9 minutes or so. We were joking that the AI caddy was telling me things like, my grandfather is better than you and things like that. They don't really say that, but that's kind of how I felt after the first few holes today. But then I got going and I felt a little bit better about myself. But good to see you. And always a fun week for golf fans, right?
Absolutely. Everybody looks forward to this week.
Yeah. All right. So one of the things about Golf Zone that I've told people, just from my own layman's point of view, is every analytic you need is basically here. And if they couple it with somebody like what you do, you really, I don't know if enough people really understand how much better you can get with just a few quick tweaks, right?
Absolutely. I mean, again, the 30-minute swing evaluation is more or less to get people in here, more or less check us out. Trying to get more on the aspect of, teaching some lessons and getting people to get better, more so than just come in here and have a recreational round of golf, getting out of the weather and out of the elements outside. But again, everything we're doing in here is going to be for the benefit of you, more or less to get you on the track that you want to get to on your golf game. So as Robin was touching on earlier, whether it's, increasing your ball flight, your head speed, getting a little bit better at chipping and putting, or just having the basic fundamentals, that's what we're here to do and sets everybody up on the right track.
I'm serious when I ask this, despite the fact that I can be self-deprecating and rag on myself. I mean, we all get older. And I seriously used to play twice a week, and I wasn't terrible. I wasn't great, but I can't putt. But now for guys over 50, my club head swing speed rather has slowed down, but you can still be a good golfer. I mean, so you can evaluate age group, strength, size, and a lot of things. And it's not as I like to say sometimes, it's not a one size fits all.
Absolutely. Yeah. Golf is, I call it a easier said than done sport. But everybody coming in here, has something they need to work on, whether it be big or small. So we cater to a little bit of everybody. And again, if you're looking to, improve something as dramatic as, getting numbers better in your height, your ball flight, and getting a little bit more detailed, or you want to just make better contact and be able to keep up with your buddies on a weekend round during the day, that's, we're pretty much here to cater to everybody and all kinds of swings and all kinds of analytics. But we break it down. We try to simplify it as best we can. We don't try to put too much information in everybody's head.
Right.
Like Robin said, we try to just keep it simple, stupid. We work the KISS method, and we try to just analyze everything that needs to be put in with your swing. We're not going to change how you're swinging and the way your body moves, and we're just going to focus on the basic mechanics and what we need to touch on the most to get your thing to be more efficient.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit right before the break. We're kind of talking about the Masters right now, and I kind of want to get into that because we haven't got to touch on it yet so far, really, today about the event. And obviously, you're the person to go to for golf swings. You see all these dudes. You see a variety of swings and courses, but
every day.
I mean, who you liking in this thing, man? We got the par 3 contest on here right now. It's going to be on in here, all throughout the week and the weekend. I mean, just, from your perspective, who do you kind of like in a tournament like this?
Everybody's got their own personal picks, their own personal golfers they like to follow every week and week out. But at the same time, kind of like guys were touching on earlier, you enter in the par 3 contest, you almost don't want to win it.
You try to tank it.
It's a jinx. It's the kiss of death. So whether or not you want to have a goal to win the par 3 or win the Masters, doesn't seem like you can have both right now. Me personally, I think Rory's got the best chance to win in the last 5-6 years, ever since he kind of blew up on the back 9 when he had a chance to win the green jacket. So he's personally my pick ever since he kind of threw that. This is one and only major he needs to win to get that Grand Slam. But then again, you got guys like Brooks Koepka who are major champions and just thrive on the big stage. And, guys like Adam Scott and some of the older guys who, all course knowledge comes into Augusta. Right. But Then again, Ludwig Goldberg, brand new player. He played his first Masters last year. He finished just behind Scotty, came in second. So it's just a matter of how good these players are and the information they can take away from this course. But my pick this week is I'm going with Rory. I think he's got a great chance to win.
He's
got more determination this week than I think he ever has.
I don't disagree, and he looked really good, the other day and winning the TPC. I know they had to go to extra holes on Monday morning, but he looked good doing that. He's looked good so far this year, and he does feel determined. And I think he's elevated himself too as the face of the PGA Tour, which I think means something to him in terms of what he's trying to do. It's not necessarily a competition with the live guys, but you mentioned Oberg. I think he's good. I think Victor Hovland can win this thing. Scotty is Scotty. And you're right. A couple of guys. I was surprised. I don't watch the live tour. I like a couple of those guys. I certainly like John Rahm. I'm a big John Rahm fan. And he's pretty far up the board in terms of favorites, but I just wonder sometimes if what they do translates, but it did for Koepka and Bryson last year. So, and it wouldn't surprise me to see. And I know, speaking of Bryson, there's a guy who's always tinkering. As a teacher, I'm curious how y'all feel about that. It's working to some degree, but I also wonder from a teaching and coaching perspective, hey man, leave it alone and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Every golfer is different. That's what's beautiful about this game. As Robin was touching on earlier, swings is, Jim Furyk, and then the sound is Adam Scott swing. Everything is totally different. It's just a matter of, getting back to the ball at the right spot. But at the same time, guys like that, they thrive on the big stage. They thrive in the moment. They thrive with the major championships. But as far as Bryson goes, he's a different animal. That's the whole reason why he's Bryson.
That's one way to put it.
They call him the mad scientist for a reason. So he found a way to input all of his numbers and scientific work in with his golf swing, and it works for him.
Right.
Not to say that it would work for me,
right,
or I'd want it to work for me, but it works for him. So again, golf, you can go about golf so many different ways, and it's just a matter of having that efficient game and efficient swing is all that really matters.
As a teacher, and a golf coach, what got you into that? I mean, at what point did you realize, all right, not only am I pretty good at this game, but I can relate with people, because that's not always an easy thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually one thing I took away from this Ledbetter Academy, which I'm, really privileged and helpful that I got to go through, more or less verbalizing things to keep it simple with, players and teachers who really don't know some of the terminology that you come up with, more or less just trying to break it down and have them simplify everything as far as a golf perspective to, get them to get in the direction you want them to go to.
Right.
Everybody interprets everything in a different way. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out the verbal communication between people to try to figure out what they want to get to. But at the same time, again, golf's easier said than done sport. I can sit here and talk about it all day. It doesn't mean that I could be out here with these guys competing at the Masters, but as long as everybody's got a goal and we're just trying to get people to the goal they want to get to.
Well, it's often, I love golf. I think everybody that plays golf with any consistency, it's a love-hate relationship, right?
Absolutely.
The ball never moves except when you hit it.
Yep. I've been told by, more or less some of these Ledbetter guys, you are what your golf ball does.
Right.
So, whether that's, you're high and straight, long and right, short and left, you come in here and we can fix anything that you wanted to fix, whether it be small or big.
If I had one facet, I don't putt well, man. It just drives me mad that I need to putt better.
Well, I don't know if this makes you feel any worse or bad about it, but chipping and putting makes up about 40% of your strokes during a round of golf. So I always emphasize everything 100 yards in is going to be, really important. But again, we always do anything with that in here, from little approach shots. And like you said, everything on this simulator gives you numbers to the decimal point if you know kind of what we're looking at. So everything we get to tweaking, whether it be big or small, is all accomplished toward the goal that the golfer has.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing too. And we got about a minute here left, but we mentioned all of the information that this stuff gives you here at Pro Swing and these golf simulators. But it's one thing to read them and nothing to know what they means and how it can help you. How can that type of information help you?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, if you don't know kind of what you're looking at, it can be a little overwhelming, but that's kind of what we're here for, to break it down and kind of simplify it for everybody. So all these numbers, obviously, if you don't have any kind of machinery like this to, practice or work with, either at your local club or kind of around the area like we are, it's more so of, more of like a feel. So all these numbers are going to help you get to where you want to get to as far as your club head speed, your direction, or your distance.
He's Rhett Finney. He's got another appointment here for free swing evaluations, doing it today and tomorrow here at Pro Swing. We'll talk to you again here real soon, and looking forward to this. But again, come by, see these Golf Zone simulators, have fun, learn, get better, go hustle your buddies. Well, okay, maybe not that. Well, sure, I don't care. That's up to you. Rhett, appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again in a little bit.
Hey, thanks for having
Lots more to do. We'll get back into our spring football conversation. Who needs it more in the SEC? You're listening to the postgame show. Not feeling like yourself as you get a little bit older. You wonder why. Listen, you can't just wait for it to get better or just think, it'll probably just go away. No, listen, over time, those things don't that bother you. And there could be a host of them. Go see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the men's clinic. Don't be the guy that just waits it out. Or don't be the guy that says, my dad never went to the doctor and he was fine. Really? Could he have been better? Listen, it's okay to go speak with medical professionals about what's going on and what's bothering you, what's not working the way you want it to. Okay. It's not embarrassing. At the men's clinic, they are experts in healthcare for men, and they are dedicated to making you feel like yourself again, the way you want to, the way you used to. All right. 803-875-MENS is the phone number. Set up a consultation. And if you want to learn more, you can go online right now, themensclinicsc.com.
And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Studios, I'm Jay Phillips with a few accidents to get to you that are causing some issues on the roadways, starting with one on Clemson Road at I-20, Hope Ferry Road at US 378 near Sunset Boulevard, Highway 1 at Augusta Road at Brickyard Road, Shop Road near South Beltline Boulevard, and lastly, we have one that just popped up on St. Peter's Road near US 378.
I love that guy. Talking some spring football, not just the Gamecocks, but the entire SEC, but really more projecting ahead to the 2025 season. And we've thrown out a question for you. It's a thought exercise, as we like to say here on the program. And that is, which SEC football team needs a big year? And again, big year can be relative to said program. You know, let's face it, a big year at Georgia or Alabama or LSU or probably even Texas these days means a national title.
At least getting to that title.
Certainly getting right up there next to it. You know, nothing else, the football version of the Final Four. You know, it's almost I would say for Georgia and Alabama, you know, if you don't, what's wrong with you? Kind of a thing, right? Yeah, that's just what's been set. You know, for South Carolina, Mississippi, you know, Tennessee did make the playoff last year. It might be Auburn. You know, hey, let's get in the playoff now that there's 12 schools in there. Let's go. Let's take our turn. Auburn needs to do something. No, my two, and again, they like I said, they weren't the sexiest picks. But I look at Auburn with what they pay Hugh Freeze and what they spend on football, and a level of expectation that they have on an annual basis. They got to be better than they've been. And I'll say again what I said at the top of the hour and what I've said many, many times in my career. You know, Auburn football measures itself against two programs. It's Georgia and Alabama, because they hate both of them. And they look at both of them and go, dadgummit.
And they've been playing them every year, you know, since we invented this great sport.
That's right. Well, except for that little break when they hated Alabama so much they didn't play them back in the day.
The Alabama one, yeah,
back in the day. But that was a long time ago. But yes, to your point, that's who they measure. Again, they don't really measure themselves against LSU or Tennessee or Florida. It's Georgia and Alabama. And then my other one was Kentucky, who last year, I mean, look, you pay Mark Stoops $9 million. Andy Staples has said it before. The best job in the Southeastern Conference in terms of what they'll pay you relative to what they expect from you is Kentucky. You might say the best job is Georgia, or the best job is LSU, or whatever. And you know, I get where somebody would come from. It's the best program. You know, Georgia right now is carrying they're the current standard bearer.
Yep. Agreed. Even now with Texas.
Yeah, and you know, let's see what Texas does. Sark's going to need to keep doing it. That's the one thing about Texas. All right, cool. Do it again. Good. Yeah. Do it again. Good. Do it again. That's it.
Sustain that success.
Yeah, that's where
been their issue is sustaining.
Yeah, and again, remember, Mark Richt got fired, if you will. At least they parted ways with Mark Richt for averaging 10 wins a year. That wasn't enough.
No,
and that's Georgia. But for Kentucky, again, Andy has said this. You know, they don't expect you to win 10 games. They don't expect you to go to the playoff. They want you to be competitive. They want you to hold their attention till after basketball season starts, but only a little bit. And Mark Stoops is like the 7th or 8th highest paid coach in America.
That's the thing, is that they're paying him that much.
Yeah.
Like your normal Kentucky coach, pre-Stoops, you know, if you're getting to bowl games and you every 3 or 4 years get you to a New Year's Day bowl, then you're probably fine. But they're usually not paying that coach in the top 10 of highest paid coaches in America. So that's why. And that's why I have Kentucky very high on my list. But I got 5. I've got 5, and I've ranked them all in terms of who needs.
Let's go 5 to 1.
Yes. So number 5, Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. You got to break the cycle, right? Especially, you know, if you're a Texas A&M fan, you're going through a cycle of abuse where you're
about 4 decades long too.
And with Mike Elko too, that was a hire that maybe a lot of people in Aggie land might have been underwhelmed with, just because it was somebody you had a connection with. He had the year at Duke that was really successful, and you got off to such a good start last year. And once again, stumbled down the stretch. You got to be able to determine that Coach Elko can be the guy that can separate you from the class in the SEC that you're in. This year, you have a starting quarterback coming back who played a lot last year. You recruit very well, portal and high school. That never goes away. You're still funneling a ton of money into this program. At what point do you finally push back and you get to better than where you are? If you get another 8-4 season with this core of players, with this coaching staff, there's going to be a lot more angst. And that angst is just continually building year and year and year. And it's almost like an angst volcano. And at some point, What do volcanoes do, Jay Phillips?
They blow.
They erupt. And that's kind of what's looking like right now for A&M. Number 4, Florida. For obvious reasons, the schedule's a bear, and Billy Napier got the benefit of the doubt last year by just surviving it,
Mhm.
right? Well, now
They got better as the season
yeah,
went
they
on.
got better.
They got better.
They got better. So they survived it respectfully. But at the University of Florida, you're not playing to be in the Gasparilla Bowl every year.
Right.
When you get a top quarterback in Florida's history, when they have a quarterback that at least is nationally seen as a potential Heisman candidate, whether it be the ones who actually won it with Tebow Warfel, whether it be with guys like Rex Grossman, who are considered to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football that year. You could even argue that Grossman should have won a Heisman, but guys that are of that ilk, right? They win a lot. You're not just winning 7 games and being cool with it. DJ Lagway, by a lot of accounts, is considered one of the 5 best quarterbacks coming into college football this next year. You got to be able to take some type of advantage of that. If you can't, if you have that position secured, you're able to get a lot of roster continuity like they've seemingly been able to have this year, coming into this year, with it being a lot better of a team that we at least nationally expect. Then you got to be able to prove that you can win with that team, because he's gotten the benefit of the doubt of maybe not having the best roster.
Right.
This is the best roster he's got.
Yeah.
So for Florida, I don't know if you can continue as a program handling consistent disappointment. Number 3, Kentucky, for the reasons that we mentioned. 2, Auburn, also for the reasons that we mentioned. You're paying Hugh Freeze a lot of money. You jumped through a lot of hoops to get him. You accepted the baggage that comes with getting Hugh Freeze, even though there would have been better maybe coaches available.
Yep.
You hired a guy just because he's beaten Nick Saban in Alabama.
That's basically what it
That's
felt
the
like.
reason they
Yeah,
hired
what
him.
it felt like.
There's no other rationale to hire that guy. You got to be able to show that you can compete with Alabama and Georgia this year, especially considering the money that they've been able to spend, the activity they've had in recruiting and in the portal. You've got to be able to prove you can do it. But number 1 for me, and I'm surprised no one's hit on this yet, Oklahoma. You're the Oklahoma Sooners. You are one of not just the standard bearers of college football, or of the SEC, because now that you're in this league, you're one of the standard bearers of college football.
Fair.
And you have to prove that even though you're in the SEC now, you can still win. Like, it's one thing to win 10 games, 11 games every year, win the conference every year in the Big 12. And the Big 12's had some really good years where they've been a really good league. But now you're in the SEC. Your rival Texas has already made an SEC championship game. They're getting better. They're progressing. You're Oklahoma. You're spending the money. That's not the issue. It's not like they're just that they're broke and they can't spend the money on football. They have the money to do it. They have the tradition to do it. You extended the coach. Why? I don't know. But you gave Brent Venables an extension. You can't have another embarrassing year like they had. I don't know if the program survives another embarrassing. If you cannot at least get yourself to 8-9 wins this year, then that's another year of disappointment. That's another year of prospective recruits from the high school and the portal ranks looking at you and being like, the direction you're going in is the wrong way. And you're doing that rather quickly. If you want to at least continue to be some type of resemblance as to what Oklahoma football has been, you cannot start stacking up sub-7 win seasons. You can't. You can't survive it, because the further along we get in time and the further along you get removed from that standard, the more you become Nebraska, the more you become what Tennessee became, the more you become the has-been as opposed to what's going on right now. And that matters a lot. Your tradition and your standard that you have had historically means a lot less to kids now in 2025 than it did maybe in 2005. And you're getting further removed from that at a rapid pace.
Yeah, we got to hit a break. You touched on one thing in that about the Sooners that I want to come back on, because I agree with you, but this isn't a pushback. I don't think one of the things you said will be allowed to happen. We'll get into that as we continue this. And again, if you want to hit us up on the YouTube page or on our Twitter feed, what programs need to have better seasons relative to what you saw in 2024, you're listening to the Postgame Show. 11 minutes in front of 5 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. Welcome back in. It's the post-game show. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you. We're at Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Come say hey. Good time to get in here right now. A couple of bays open, and they're here till, I forget exactly what time. Later. 8, 9.
Later.
Hey, Tyler, I'm live on the radio. Y'all close at what time tonight? 9 o'clock.
9.
Look at that. All I have to do is
So
ask.
there's time.
See, there's another example, kids. The only dumb question, a question not asked.
Yes, because then you never find out the answer.
That's right. We're here to.
And that's why I'm going to be able to play in the spring game.
That's right. That's exactly the lesson.
This is how my play calling career has started.
It's the lesson that we taught everybody yesterday. Terry Ford at Master Control. Jeannie is here. Now that Haley's gone, Jeannie's here to make sure we don't burn the place down.
Another easier said than done. We talk about golfing, an easier said than done sport. So is making sure that we don't damage property.
Well, we'll see.
I'm clumsy.
Yeah, but if we just distract Jeannie for just a minute and then break something,
there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Hence the easier said than done part.
So you mentioned about Oklahoma, and I think that is a fine choice for the SEC program that needs to have a bigger year, and I think you hit on it too. What they define as a bigger year, because I said going back several years when Oklahoma, before Oklahoma and Texas were known to be coming, and there was a lot of maybe rumor about it, right? Or even some people saying, hey, if they expand again, just kind of almost wishing like, oh, let's get Oklahoma. And I was like, careful what you wish for, because you'll be getting another Alabama. And what I mean by that is you'll be getting a big state U, but from a, at least relatively speaking sense, smaller state. The state of Oklahoma demographically, it's kind of more like Alabama or South Carolina than it is Texas or Florida or Georgia, right? And I've often said, and I know I'm not alone, that there's a lot of people who say, what school really recruits the state of Texas the best? It's Oklahoma, because they'll go in and handpick the guys that they really feel will come play at Oklahoma that didn't necessarily grow up pulling for Oklahoma, might have pulled for one of the big schools in Texas. But you mentioned if they keep stacking, 6 or 7 win seasons, then they turn into Nebraska. They won't stack them. If there's another one this year, yes, it'll technically stack onto one, but that'll be it. Whatever it costs to buy him out, they'll do it. They'll go get whoever they feel they need to get.
They better land on that hire too. That's you better land the hire, and then you really don't survive it if you stack bad coaching hires.
Correct.
Back to back.
And I don't necessarily know, honestly, Elijah, right now, who that is. And I don't want to sit here and bury Brent Venables already, because I think they'll be better than they were. And look, they come to Columbia later this year. Look what you did to them in their joint last year. But who is that? I mean, that part of what you and I can do is sit here and speculate on some things like that. If Kurt Signetti were 20 years younger, it'd be him.
Oh, it'd absolutely be him.
But it's not him.
Yeah, he's might have sailed.
I don't think it's Dabo. I think if Dabo was going to have gone somewhere, he probably already would have. Mm-hmm. It's not Mark Stoops. It could potentially be Eli Drinkwitz, but I don't think he is
Oklahoma material.
Yeah, the home run hire, because they'll think they need to hit a home run. You're not going to lure Kirby from Georgia.
Nope.
So I mean, who is it? And there's somebody out there, but I'm not sure who it is, man. I'm dead serious. I'm just not sure.
If Kleiman gets him another great year at Kansas State, that one could be maybe a little more intriguing, just because he did win at such a high level at a school at North Dakota State. like winning national championships.
They want and plural, and I think that matters. Again, is that the kind of person that the average Oklahoma fan will want? The more diehard everyday college football fan will know who that is, but does the average person who actually still is worth a lot of money and donates it to OU going to go who?
Yeah.
What? Where's Barry Switzer? Could you lure someone out of the National Football League to go to Oklahoma and really turn things around? Hey, here's $12 million a year, $1 million a month to come out here and do it. So I don't know, but they won't keep letting. If Brent, I don't know. Honestly, man, I'm serious. I don't know this. and we'll certainly begin to explore more of this, once media days hits in July or things like that. And we look ahead because, again, OU comes to Columbia this year. So we'll be studying them more closely than some. If they don't win 9 games in the regular season, I think you have to turn somewhere because you can't, to your point.
Yeah, you can't stack these.
They don't win 9 games out there. That's my point about saying
Yeah.
they're another Alabama. They win 10 games minimum.
Yeah, I mean,
minimum.
And they've already made some portal splashes. They got a quarterback that's considered one of the top 10 in America right now. And if you blow that opportunity, there's a trend.
We'll continue talking some football. I got you some sound from Shane Beamer. Headlines of the day as well. We're live at Pro Swing. The mission at the Joint Chiropractic Center is very, very simple. They want you to feel better every single day, all right? And chiropractic care can help you out. You know what? We are literally steps away from the Joint Chiropractic Center on Forest Drive. It's like right over there, my man. Like you could be there in 30 seconds from right here.
A pogo stick.
How about that? That's right.
Here.
Yeah. Of course, you might get hurt doing that. Then you really need them at that point. No, in all seriousness, if you're bothered by back, neck, shoulder, or joint pain, get back in the game with the Joint. You never need an appointment. You never have to worry about insurance at the Joint. They are also FSA and HSA approved. Convenient, Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, Saturdays, 10 until 4. Again, right here on Forest Drive, steps away. Harbison Boulevard, Roberts Branch off Killian Road in the Northeast, and Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. They're convenient. They're affordable. They help you maintain a healthy body. They help you prevent reoccurring issues. Stop in and see them real soon. And if you're concerned about it, $29 gets you in for a free consult or initial consultation. You don't have to feel bad to feel better at the Joint.
Every time. From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to you, they're causing some issues on the roadways, starting with one on Ashland Road at Bush River Road, Clemson Road at I-20, Hope Ferry Road at US 378 near Sunset Boulevard, I-77 southbound at Forest Drive near exit 12, O'Neill Court near Parkland Road, Shady Grove Road at Broad River Road, St. Peter's Road near US 378, and lastly, one on US 176 at Broad River Road near Bush River Road.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Wednesday. Welcome back in. It's also the final hour of the post-game show. Alongside Elijah Campbell, I'm Jay Phillips. The two of us live at Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Come out, say hey. They're here till 9 o'clock tonight, and they're open 7 days a week for all kinds of great golf fun, golf instruction, and so much more. We'll tell you more about that and how you could potentially go to Augusta on Sunday and not just to, like, visit downtown.
No, you get to see somebody, win a new article of clothing.
Put on a nice blazer, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. In the meantime, let's talk about what's going on headline wise. We'll start with South Carolina baseball. The Gamecocks back to winning ways last night as they take care of Upstate by a final of 13-3. Dalton Mayshore with a grand slam early in the first. So somebody won some money on our radio station last night too. There's news. And Ethan Petrie hit a 2-run shot as well. Gamecocks get some good bullpen pitching, a lot of strikeouts last night, and they beat the Spartans by 10. Coach Paul Maneri, cut 15, please, Mr. Ford. Coach Maneri saying, hey, just good to get a W.
Well, it's good to win a game. Dalton certainly gave us a big lift there in the first inning with the grand slam and Petrie 2-run homer. But I knew these guys could hit, so I never really felt comfortable with a 6-0 lead. I thought Susie came in and did a pretty admirable job. And the big out was when Marlott came in with the bases loaded and got that out there and kept them, one swing of the bat there with the bases loaded, and we got ourselves a ball game. Then I thought Jordan Carry-On's ball into the right field corner with the bases loaded was another big hit for us. And of course, Caden Gaskin hitting the walk-off home run. That was a really cool moment for him. So it was a good win for us, get our 20th win of the year. I didn't think it would take this long to get to 20 wins, but at least we got there. So we'll keep moving forward.
Don't get a lot of walk-offs in the 7th inning, but the Spartans had scored a run in the top half that meant Carolina needed one in the bottom to get the run rule win. They got it. 13-3 the final. Gamecocks out at A&M this weekend. A little bit more from Coach in postgame. Cut number 20, please, Mr. Ford. There was bad news about Talmadge Lecroy, and here is Coach explaining where he is right now this season.
Yeah, I'm afraid that to announce that he's probably out for the season. Yeah, unfortunate. I met with him today, and he got an injection before we went to Mississippi State in his hip, and it just didn't really help him much at all. So I think he's resolved to having to have a procedure that's going to have a 6 or 7 week type of recovery, which takes us to the end of the season. So now we're talking about the possibility of medical red shirt. He actually does qualify for it, but barely. Like he would have had to have played in 18 or less games, and he's played in 17. So that wasn't by design. That was just really kind of blind luck. And then there's another factor. So he's got to make it. He's going to graduate this summer, so he's going to have to make a decision whether or not he wants to play and go to graduate school or get on with his life. But I think the season's over for him this year.
It's unfortunate. Kofor, Bakes, Braylon have all had some time behind the plate as well. So we'll see this weekend how Coach Maneri decides to handle that moving from. Of course, Talmadge hadn't been playing, a little bit anyway there, Elijah. So it seems like one thing on top of another, and I guess goes back to one of your points about a Murphy's Law kind of season for this game.
That's the Murphy's Law team of the year.
Yeah.
Between the injury to Talmadge, because that happened early in the season. First game?
Yeah,
was when he ended up
first or second game,
fracturing his hand.
Yeah, he got a fracture in his thumb.
That happens that early. What happened with Dylan in the bullpen over at Arkansas? Like, the odds of all that happening are very slim. And those are two important players that you knew coming into the year you're going to have to rely on.
Right.
One suffering a season-ending injury, multiple, I guess. Well, the hand wasn't the season-ending injury, but he sustained another one, and it just doesn't stop with this team. It's almost have like a whack-a-mole of problems on the field, and then with injuries too. And that is a perfect concoction to having a disappointing season.
On that note, one more here, 21, Terry, coach on, all right, what's next behind the plate?
Well, all our catchers are hitting under 200.
Yeah,
so
that's the
it's,
thing.
it's not a lot of great options there from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah.
So, obviously I've played Gavin Braylon quite a bit because I think he's an outstanding receiver, blocker of balls, works well with the pitchers. He's a young kid and he's gaining experience. Yeah, I like Gavin, Coffer really hasn't taken advantage of the opportunities that he's been given. I don't know how else to say. I think he's had 10 at-bats in SEC play with 8 strikeouts. So, everybody's getting a chance. This is the earn it business we're in, So, I wish somebody would just have taken the bull by the horns and say, I should be the starting catcher once Tal went down. But it's really just kind of a gut feeling on who to go with, Jack. I'd love to see more offense out of the position, but it hasn't really happened. So, to see every day when I get up what I feel is the best combination dealing with the pitcher that's pitching and who should catch him and that type of thing.
So there you go. Again, Gamecocks at A&M tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. We'll have them for you all here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia and across the Gamecock Radio Network. Staying with baseball, last night the Atlanta Braves came from behind to beat the Philadelphia Phillies 7-5. Sean Murphy, speaking of catchers who've been injured, returned to the lineup, hit a home run. Austin Riley had a couple of doubles for the Braves. Raisel Iglesias got his first save
Finally.
of the season. It's only their second win, so what are you going to do? And Deisbel Hernandez got the W for Atlanta. He went 1 1/3 scoreless after Chris Sale had started. Kyle Schwarber hit a dinger for the Phillies last night, but it didn't matter. Braves win 7-5 on Hank Aaron Day.
Hey, you got to at least win on Hank Aaron.
You do, man.
You have to.
Either
they
that or
might
just
have had
don't
some-
schedule games on Hank Aaron Day.
They might have had some Hank Aaron Day luck there with that ball falling in the outfield of the
I told you
Phillies.
what I
The
told
Phillies outfield, man, they just went completely brain dead for about 2 seconds
was
till
the-
that ball was in the air and it dropped right in front of 2 guys,
The ghost of Hank
helping out a little bit,
out there, just a little
blinding the outfielders.
yeah, just a little something. Just a little something.
give him an assist on that. I'll count that.
Yeah. Braves and Phillies go at it again tonight. And let me get you that pitching lineup if my interwebs will help me out here. Grant Holmes for the Braves, 0-1 with a 7.20.
Not ideal.
Again, industry term, as Terry likes to say. And Taijuan Walker will go for Philadelphia. He's 1-0. He is not allowed an earned run so far this season in 6 innings. He has 4 strikeouts, 1 walk in those 6. Grant Holmes, by the way, has 5 strikeouts and 4 walks.
Ooh, I don't love
in
that
5 innings.
ratio.
So here's another one.
Ugh.
Maybe the Braves turn it around tonight. Braves are the favorites in this one at minus 150 on the money line.
A
To
little
the
bit of home field advantage there, I'm
to the-
sure, factored in.
Bills 125. We'll see. First pitch 7:20 tonight up in Cobb County. College basketball news as we continue our integrated media headlines of the day. And this one is really big. JT Toppin, the Big 12 Player of the Year and one of the finalists for the Wooden Award this season, is headed back to Texas Tech. There were many. I mean, where was he in most mocks?
Probably late first round
Okay.
is where I would have projected him. I've seen some that had him later first round, maybe like behind like where Colin is. But if you're looking for potential playmaking type big, maybe a little thinner in frame than Colin, but he was maybe a little bit further back.
They played in 4 NCAA tournament games this season. Toppin had doubles in each of them. He averaged 19.3 points and 11 boards. And again, that's just in the tournament. As I said, he was the Big 12 Player of the Year. And the rumors out there are that he is going to earn a lot of money for hanging around at Texas Tech.
$4 million. This was Matt Norlander reported earlier today. Is that what that deal can be worth up to? And look, I mean, if that's going to be more than what you make in the first year at the NBA, and it definitely is. I think that.
Well, yeah, if you're a late
30
first,
years.
if you're
Yeah,
a
not
late
getting more than
first, and then
3 and a
and then
half.
second round, you tell me that. I mean, did they even have? they don't really even have guaranteed numbers for second rounders, do they?
Well, most of them just get signed to 2-way deals.
Yeah.
And those
And good
those
luck
aren't
to you, kid.
lucrative.
Right?
Yeah, and $4 million, man, that's a pretty good one, pretty good cash to check. But it does kind of a little bit give you an idea as to what the market is for somebody of that caliber, right? He was the Big 12 Player of the Year, another one-time transfer. I think at one point during the year, man, he reeled off some scoring numbers late in the year. I mean, he had a bat against Arizona State and Oklahoma State. He went for 41 and 32, and then had another 30-point game against Colorado later on in the season. But he just went on an absolute scoring tear. So you have all this production, Big 12 Player of the Year, on a team that went to the Elite Eight and that finished second in the regular season of the Big 12. That commanded $4 million.
Yeah.
So while we're trying to figure out what certain players are worth in this type of environment, where now these deals, more so than the last couple of years, are becoming a little more public. We're learning some more actual details as to what these things may be worth. That paints you a picture just of what type of caliber that player is. He'll be making more money this year, if that report is correct, of $4 million than a lot of Power 4 schools have.
Their budget. Yeah, their budget. Sure.
I mean, and from what I'm told, that's not too far away from what South Carolina's total budget was for transfer players this year.
Yeah,
one player.
And again, this is why some of this needs to get fixed. Until it does, though, this is going to happen. And at schools like Texas Tech, Texas A&M, you're going to see this, and other schools too. But there's so much money, and if you don't have to really justify it, other than that's what I want to pay somebody, that's what you're going to get.
Then it's a free market. And
yeah, it is.
The schools that don't have those type of budgets can't compete. You got to be good with scouting.
Yeah.
You got to be able to identify players who can get better, right? That's kind of the big thing too. I know a lot of schools are saying this is going to kill mid-majors.
Yeah.
It's not going to.
No, it's not.
Because
but
there are a lot of smart coaches out there who will identify it. Will they keep them after a year or two? No. I mean, Donovan Dent just left New Mexico after being an All-American point guard for them, and is going to go play at UCLA and make about $2.5–3 million or whatever it is. You're going to lose out on the opportunity to keep those guys 4 years, but having Donovan Dent for a year or two helped get New Mexico to exactly where they want it to be. So they'll still find a way.
Finally, in our integrated media headlines of the day today, Fred Ridley, the chairman of the Augusta National Golf Club, held his annual address, or as any chair of Augusta National does, the day before the Masters. He says that they will continue to invite international golfers into the event with special invitations, but that they do not intend to have any special pathway for Live Tour golfers, like a couple of others have done. Of course, he says he'll encourage the PGA Tour and Live Golf to try to come together and reunify things. At this point, Live has offered $1.5 billion in a cash investment on the for-profit side of the PGA, but that came with a couple of caveats, including having the governor of the Saudi Public Investment Fund become basically co-chair of the tour, which the tour said no to. And they also want to keep a lot of their team and 54-hole shotgun start formats. They think it works. The television numbers would tell you it does not. The attendance numbers would tell you it does not, but they like it. That's great. That's not what golf wants to do. So at this point, the Masters and Augusta National have said, so for now, if you choose to be on the Live Tour, you better do really, really well if you want to play here. Otherwise, you're going to have to be like some of the guys that have won our event. Bubba can come back. John Rahm can come back. Patrick Reed can come back. Boo.
Open the door up for him.
But otherwise, no special invitations for Live golfers. I don't disagree with that one at all. That's our integrated media headlines of the day. Come back on the other side. We're talking spring football a lot today as well. Get you some more sound from Shane Beamer and more on our discussion of which SEC football programs need to have big years. We're live at Pro Swing on the postgame show. Mother Nature providing us some air conditioning the last couple of days and maybe for a few more this week, but soon enough, it'll be nice and hot. Time to get your air conditioning system fully inspected, or it might be time for something brand new, whether it's that or anything in between. 803-677-1500 gets you in touch with the fantastic pros at AAA Heating and Air. My family has been using AAA for years now at our house to make sure that we're good to go. And guess what? We are. Thumbs up. But if you're not, get a tech in. Maybe you need a little coolant. Maybe the system's a little older, needs a couple of repairs. True transparency pricing lets you know up front what you'll pay. And if it's time for something brand new, Roy and Dana Finley have a fantastic opportunity for you. No payments or interest for a full year. Guaranteed financing, a $1,500 system buyback rebate, and a 15-year parts and labor guarantee. So again, quick repair, new system, whatever you need, stay comfortable with AAA, 803-677-1500, AAA Heating and Air. Nineteen minutes after 5 o'clock on this Wednesday. Welcome back into the post-game show. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell, broadcasting live from Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Two locations, of course, in the Midlands. They got the original out by world headquarters of Integrated Media on Snapdragon in Chapin. But if you're here in town, come see us. 4 bays and open till 9 o'clock tonight. And remember, they are giving you an opportunity to go to Sunday at Augusta. All right, here's how it works. You play 2 full hours here or in Chapin, 2 full hours anytime until Friday afternoon. Basically, you have until probably like I guess 5, because we're going to be drawing. You and I will be announcing the winner at 5:30. So like 48 hours and 10 minutes from now, somebody is going to go like, "Oh my God,
Someone's
I'm
gonna
going."
get some really
I
good
am-
news.
I
Some
am going
really
to-
good news.
But if you play 2 full hours anytime until Friday afternoon, then you're registered to win. That's it. All right, it's that simple. And there are other ways too. Just come see the folks at Pro Swing and check out all the details, or go to proswingcolumbia.com. That's really the best place to go. Go to proswingcolumbia.com. There's also a phone number
Yep.
on there. You can call.
Easy to set up. Easy to
Set
set up.
yourself. But 2 hours at full price gets you entered.
And if you're thinking about doing it, I think acting fast is the best way to do it, because with a deal like this and giving people a chance to win tickets to Sunday at the Masters,
Yep.
The demand's going to be a little higher for bays around here.
That's right.
So I would suggest, if you're considering it, you're thinking about it, let's go ahead and pull that trigger, man.
And we'll talk to Rhett Finney again in a little bit. But Rhett is out here today. He is a PGA pro. He is a Ledbetter Academy certified instructor. And for the next couple of days, today and tomorrow, he's out here at the Forest Drive location giving you free 30-minute swing evaluations. So you can come in and let a Ledbetter Academy instructor, a PGA pro, say, "Hey, like, you're awesome." No. Or to me, "Hey, buddy,
You tried cross stitching?
yeah. Why
Find
don't
you
you,
another hobby.
why don't you just, what about bowling? What about darts?
Maybe you're better at Wii golf.
That's right,
Maybe
yes.
you'd stick with that.
I'm really good at Wii golf. Actually, I'm not.
I'm not very good at Wii golf. Way better at Wii tennis and the boxing.
I was really good at the old Tiger Woods EA Sports Golf. I was pretty good at that.
I was all right at Tiger Woods, the PGA video game, but only on the PlayStation Portable.
Okay.
The only console that I was actually really good at it.
Well,
I don't know if they make PSPs anymore.
we used to have
Lost era.
Sega Genesis, man. I'm older than you, as you might know, and we used to have some pretty big events, if you will, on the. And you might say, really, on golf, EA Sports Golf.
Golf video games can be pretty entertaining.
Oh man, we used to go at it. That and Coach K. I'm telling you, I miss those games.
Oh, the Coach K video game. I have played that one a little bit.
It is so good. Only one
very old school.
version of it, man. Only one version of it, but it was fantastic. In the meantime, let's get back into some spring football talk. And Elijah and I earlier, along with our good friend David Clonaker, who was with us here at Pro Swing a little bit earlier today, just discussing, kind of open-endedly, no wrong answers, what programs that need to, to have just bigger seasons relative to last year. The two I had, and again, they're again, no wrong answers. You can make, honestly, you can make a case for everybody, because let's face it, in sports, you always want to build upon what you did. And since there was no one in the SEC that even played for a national title, which is unheard of in these parts, then everybody can technically have some form of bigger year, but it can also be very relative. But the two I came up with, just in terms of what they're paying coaches and what they expect, were, again, as I said earlier, not sexy picks, but Auburn and Kentucky. Kentucky went 4-8, and
They
there were
bad.
yeah,
They're
and
supposed
some
to be good.
and somehow one of their wins was in Oxford.
Which is another reason why, if you're Ole Miss, you really can't be mad at your exclusion from the college football.
Yeah,
playoff.
but
You
it's
have no
just,
room to be mad.
just what an odd thing that it was. You lost, or you won in Oxford, right? And then who else did they have another conference win? They beat
Kentucky? I don't think so.
I don't think
might
they
have been their
did.
only one, because they played
Louisville. No, Louisville beat them.
Louisville beat like a drum.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they only had 4 wins, 3 non-conference.
Yeah.
And then the one SEC win.
yeah. So
4-8 with a team that picked up some good transfers and that had a really solid roster, solid defensive line, enough weapons around your quarterback to make it a little easier on them. Offensive line wasn't as good, but you still have a good foundation as a program of producing solid offensive lines.
Right.
All of that, and you still couldn't eke out more than 4 wins.
not good.
Not good at all.
And then Auburn's paying Hugh Freeze a lot of money, and Auburn has expectations of 9, 10 plus win seasons annually. I get it. Harder for Auburn to do it, as I've said many times, than the two schools they most compare to, Alabama and Georgia. Yours at the top of your list was Oklahoma. I think that's an excellent choice. And you made the point they can't keep doing what they're doing. I don't think they'll be allowed to. If Brent Venables doesn't, I don't know. Maybe it's not fair. If they don't win 9 games, and I know you might say, well, Jay, they were 6-7 last year, but if they win 8, that's more.
But it's still,
I don't think
still
8
mediocre.
I don't think 8 does it.
No,
I just
it shouldn't. With that program, it shouldn't. Like, the expectation is to be great.
And I might even say, well, what if they beat, Alabama or something? Well, okay, but then that means they probably lost a game they don't think they should lose.
They beat Alabama last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
like a drum.
Still
lost games they should have won.
And listen, I know Carolina beat them pretty handily. I mean, I still think about just the overwhelming defense in the first quarter of that game. But Oklahoma doesn't think they should lose to South Carolina.
No.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Because you're Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like
you don't think you should lose to anybody.
And they're one
in
of
the
those
grand scheme,
too.
think about
yeah,
it, man.
They're one of those programs that's angsty that they haven't won a national title since what, 2000?
It's been a long
it's been
time.
This is the 25th straight football season. If they don't win this year without a national title, I don't think they're going to win this
Because
year.
Barry Switzer, Terry Ford's running the board. Terry, pull your mic up, please, sir. I didn't. Switzer won 3. Is that right?
That sounds about right.
At least 2.
But in contention for it every year.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
they
always
really
there.
have
Basically, it
bad
came down to the winner of the Oklahoma-Nebraska game in the old Big 8.
years.
As to who was going to move on and go to the Orange Bowl, because the conference winner went to the Orange Bowl, and typically that team was probably in position to play for a national title at least somewhere along the way. But yeah, and then Stoops won one after a couple of years of being in Norman, and then Stoops ended up winning 15 Big 12 titles.
Yeah,
but not any more national championships. I just think if they don't win 9, minimum 9 at Oklahoma, I think I think they turn somewhere else.
That's one of the reasons why I was so puzzled with the extension of Brent Venables. And I think Brent Venables is a really good coach. And if he ever becomes, kind of diverts back into being a defensive coordinator again, somebody's got them a hell of a DC. But after the year they had last year, you kind of need to put a little bit of pressure on them to make sure that they get back to what their standard is this year. And if you give them an extension, that doesn't necessarily show that you're putting that type of pressure on them. It actually relays the exact opposite message. So that might have been the most confusing coaching contract extension that we got in college sports this year. That's up there with Hubert Davis for me.
I think it was
North
done.
Carolina.
I don't disagree with you. And again, this isn't necessarily a defense as much as an attempt to explain. I just think because they recruit so well, almost regardless of who's running the program, that there was a need to show stability, and that they needed to do it. Like, we can't continue to recruit against Texas and now recruit in some ways against, say, an LSU out that way, in addition to recruiting against Oklahoma State or in-state talent, or Kansas State, as you mentioned, or even what Lance Leipold's now doing at KU. And let's face it, just like Atlanta or Miami or LA, everybody recruits Dallas, everybody recruits Houston, and you got to make sure you're doing it,
and doing it not just competitively,
Yeah.
but better
Right.
than everybody else.
Yeah, and they often do. So I think that's where that comes from. We'll stay with some SEC football talk, get you the results of last night in Southeastern Conference baseball. Again, Missouri won, but wait till we tell you what they did when they did win. And we'll have a couple of cuts from Shane Beamer as well. We're live at Pro Swing on this Wednesday. It's the postgame show.
107.5 The Game, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle. Register brought to you by
Love telling you about my friends at Integrated Media, who, of course, are also the folks who brought you Pro Swing in Chapin and here in Forest Acres. But when it comes to home theater installation and the latest in technology, there is nobody better in the Midlands than Integrated Media. And look outside right now. All right. Think about this weekend. Wouldn't it be nice if you had a home theater system outside to enjoy this weather while you were enjoying major golf championships or your favorite baseball team or whatever else it is that you want to watch whenever you want to watch it, 803-948-8327. An outdoor home theater system can be installed on your back deck, your porch, around the pool. It's televisions and speakers that are meant to be outside all year, rain or shine, no matter what. All right, wouldn't that be great? So whether it's one room, whole house, indoors, outdoors, Wi-Fi that works everywhere, home security, and so much more, 803-948-8327, Integrated Media.
And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Center, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to you that are causing some issues on the roadways, starting with one on Ashland Road at Bush River Road, another on I-77 southbound at Forest Drive near exit 12, O'Neill Court near Parkland Road, Shady Grove Road at Broad River Road. There's an obstruction on the roadway causing some traffic backup. More accidents on US 176 at Broad River Road near Bush River Road, and another one on 176 near Broad River Road, closer to St. Andrews Road. And lastly, we have an accident on Westcott Road at South Carolina 36 in St. Andrews Road.
It is Drive Around the SEC time on this Wednesday. Welcome back in. Jay and Elijah with you live at Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Got an empty bay right now for you. Everybody is back in here after work having some golf fun. And Rhett, we'll probably grab you again in just a few minutes, man. So be ready for that. We'll talk to Rhett talking about how you can come in here and get a free swing evaluation. Meantime, baseball last night. Georgia beats Presbyterian 16-2. Tennessee over Alabama State 10-2. Good one in Atlanta as Auburn edges Georgia Tech. That's a top 20 matchup, 9-8. Again, South Carolina over USC Upstate 13-3. The Battle of the Commonwealth saw Louisville That's Louisville. Take Kentucky 4-3. That's right. Vandy over
Good
the
program.
Dayton. That's right. Vandy over the Dayton Flyers 9-2. Mississippi State beats UAB 8-3. Arkansas over Arkansas State 7-3. In Gainesville, Florida got a much needed win. They beat Florida State 5-4.
God, they needed that in the worst way.
Gators
man.
are like the
That
Gamecocks,
season,
man.
That team season has just gone down the toilet.
Yeah, Gators and Gamecocks are struggling. Like Coach Maneri said in his post-game comments, South Carolina got win number 20 last night over Upstate. Last night was Florida's 21st win, but they're struggling in conference play. Carolina's 2-10. Florida's 1-11.
Jack Caglione ain't walking through that door.
He is not walking through that
He
door.
crushed a homer in the minors last night. That thing looked like it went a mile.
Missouri.
Not shocking.
Missouri beat Southern Illinois Edwardsville last night by a final of 11-8. Which, listen, you won, so there's that. The Missouri Tigers committed 8 errors in last night's game.
You want to know what winning on accident looks like?
That
is how you win a baseball game on accident.
SIU Edwardsville had 10 hits. They committed 2 errors, but somehow Missouri got it done. Ole Miss blanked Memphis 10-0. A&M
Oh, that's rude.
all over Sam Houston 14-1.
What can you expect from one guy?
Alabama in a top 25er got past Southern Miss 10-6. Alabama number 12. The Eagles number 23 in the country.
They're having a really good year.
Dallas Baptist, a very good team, beat Oklahoma in Norman 9-1. Not really surprised by that one.
Margin maybe might be a little surprising.
LSU without indoor plumbing beat Nicholls State last night 5-3.
That's the funniest picture from the college baseball season.
If y'all haven't seen it, just look it up. It's easier to just tell you to go look up like LSU baseball and Porta-John.
I think I have it liked on Twitter, so I can
Okay.
probably pull up where I saw it because that is hilarious.
There were a few, but it's a real picture. It was pretty funny. Texas over Houston Christian 12-2, and I know there's one game tonight, Elijah Campbell, and if the interwebs here will work with me.
Oh, I can help you out. It's between 2 baseball teams.
It is a baseball game, and it is Alcorn State and Mississippi, and they are
Steve
playing in
McNary will
Oxford,
do that.
and the Rebels are beating Alcorn State, and sadly, I don't know Alcorn State's. Are they the Rattlers?
That's Florida.
That's
A&M.
Florida A&M. I don't know what Alcorn is,
State
but
might actually have me stumped.
but anyway, Ole Miss is winning that one by a count of 6-0. That is in the second inning. Ole Miss scored 6 in the first, and they are hitting in the
Oh, you
bottom
should
of the
know
second.
Alcorn State. They're the Braves.
Oh, I should know that. No, Steve McNair ain't walking through that door.
He is not. Absolutely. No, he's not walking through that door.
So there you go.
Lorman, Mississippi.
Continuing to drive around the SEC, but I want to get into some Shane Beamer. I told you we would, and we've been talking some SEC football all day long. One on the Gamecocks, but first, Terry, cut number 9, please, sir. Shane Beamer in his press conference yesterday was asked on his thoughts about the NCAA House settlement, which should be fully approved here in the coming weeks. And here's some of his thoughts.
I was watching more live from the Masters on the Golf Channel yesterday than I was keeping up with the settlement stuff while I was doing my work. I wasn't completely tuned into the live from the Masters on the Golf Channel, but I had it on the television in my office. I didn't really. I kind of know a general idea of what took place yesterday. Coach Tanner came out to practice today. It was great to see him come out today and hang out a little bit as a spectator. And he was kind of catching me up on some things that he had read and heard and whatnot. But general idea of Hale, I know other people in our athletic department and in our program were meeting yesterday and talking about it and getting updates and things like that. But for us, it's, we have a plan. There's kind of a plan A if this happens and it happens at this time, plan B if this happens and it happens at this time, and then plan C if none of it goes as we expect. And we're ready for all of it and just kind of taking it day by day.
I don't blame him for trying not to get too far in the weeds on it because it can mess with your head. And I know we've talked about it a lot. That's part of our job to cover these things in the business of college athletics. But something that David Cloninger hit on earlier when he was with us, Elijah, that I think people should be looking at. There's a July 1st date as well about if you get an NIL deal done before then, it won't have to go through any type of clearinghouse the big accounting firm Deloitte has been hired by the NCAA to, in effect, I don't think oversee is the right word. Or I don't think police is the right word.
Establish a market.
They're going to verify. Yeah. And again, Deloitte will be charged with determining, quote, fair market value. Look, right now there are caps. There's going to be caps put in on, like how much revenue you can share in any one year. And it's a percentage, not necessarily a number. So it's going to go up over a 10-year period, which is all this settlement covers, is the next decade. And there are going to be roster caps as well. I think the roster caps probably aren't ripe for a lawsuit, but I do believe that the salary cap, if you will, is going to be. But I also think fair market value is going to be something that people can say, well, wait a minute, who are you? Look, you might be one of the world's best accounting firms, and that's great. Congratulations.
Hang the banner.
Yeah. But who are you alone to determine fair market value for athletes in the United States?
In an unregulated market.
Yeah. And again, what's fair, in terms, and like Elijah and I said yesterday, if you hired just, an actor who's typically an extra in something to portray a truck driver in a commercial, you're going to pay him scale for the Screen Actors Guild. But if you hired Leonardo DiCaprio to play the same role as the same truck driver in the same commercial for the same product, you're going to pay him a lot more.
Because he's Leonardo.
Is that fair? Yeah, it is fair because he's a lot more noticeable. All right, well, if you wanted to hire me to do a car commercial in Colombia, or you wanted to hire Lenora Sellers is worth more money than me, or you, or almost anybody else.
Us combined.
Yeah, I'm not a top 10 Heisman candidate. So I mean, what's fair? And I really get bothered. Fair, because fair is a word that we use in the English language a lot, but it is also perhaps maybe the most subjective word we use in the English language, because what's fair, if I said right now, Elijah, it is fair that I pick up one of these golf clubs and hit you over the head with it 10 times. And you might go, I don't think that's fair. I think that's kind of unfair because I didn't do anything. I'd be like, I don't care. I think it's fair. I want to hit you with a golf club.
You said, I'm a Brent Venables supporter.
I think it's fair.
I heard you talking junk.
I mean,
so I'm going to crack you over the head with this club because that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I think fair and unfair are just way too subjective, and they're open to too much, not necessarily criticism, but analysis of how you try to determine that.
Because here's the thing. Here's the big issue. Is this value, this fair market value, fair to whom?
Right. To
the
whom?
School or the player?
Right.
Right. Because every rule since before this lawsuit in House versus NCAA, all the rules have been more fair to the school than the player.
Mm-hmm.
Like there hasn't been an element of fairness in terms of
and that's why we're here.
Exploitation of labor, and that is why we're here. So with two parties, with school and player, athletic departments and players, trying to strike that balance is going to make somebody really mad. It's probably going to be the schools.
Yes.
It's probably going to be the athletic department.
Well, and it's going to be school.
Who've been fighting and clawing for years.
And all this is going to do, again, man, and I'm dead serious about this, and I get it, but I don't like it, but this is where we are, the haves and the have-nots. All right, that's why we have so many of these dumb rules in the NCAA to begin with. I can't afford it. My school can't afford it. Again, we talked about glossy color photos in football media guides were banned because some schools couldn't afford it. Seriously, y'all, think about that. Like, who cares? But somebody did, so they wrote a rule. All right, well, now you just mentioned Texas Tech is going to pay $4 million for a second-round basketball player. Well, okay, I don't know, Sam Houston State can't do that.
Right. And we're just going to have to live with that reality.
Yeah. So,
That's
I mean, the haves and the
with.
have-nots. It nothing changes until there's some form of collective bargaining, but I don't blame Coach for not paying too much attention. It's again, it'll make your head explode. That's the drive around the SEC, brought to you by Herndon Chevy. We're back at Pro Swing on Forest Drive here on the Postgame Show. All right, welcome back in. Final few minutes of the post-game show here on this Wednesday afternoon, Masters Eve. The tournament gets going very early tomorrow morning. Some very intriguing tee times. We'll talk a lot about that tomorrow. Our good friend Bill McDonald, the longtime former Gamecock men's golf coach, is going to join us here at Pro Swing. Looking forward to seeing Coach Billy Mack.
Yeah, been a while.
It has, and one of my favorite people, and certainly on the top 10 lists of all-time appearances. I can't necessarily say on the post-game show. When I was doing the old halftime show, he was on a lot, and he's been with us a couple of times here on this show.
On Jay Phillips hosted radio
But that's right.
programs.
That's
There
right.
we go.
But
If we want to
thank you.
specify.
Yeah,
the
because I
staff.
gotta do that because Ford took my old show and the name and made me do drive time in the afternoon.
Stuck you with me.
Daggum program
Just-
directors and they're directing.
Threw you off for a little.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Terry running the board at Master Control Hearing?
No, he's not.
I have a meeting at 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Terry's on Facebook. He's looking at Facebook. He's fine.
No, that's what you're supposed to do when you're behind the board.
Yes.
The protocol is to scroll through Facebook.
But
And then print off a lot of pictures.
Stop. But Bill will be with us tomorrow. Looking forward to day one of the Masters. We were going to talk to our buddy Rhett Finney, who's a PGA pro and a certified Ledbetter Academy instructor, but he is currently doing his job.
He is.
So I'm not going to bug him. I was going to say, hey, can we? I was like, you know what? This guy over here is probably, paying him to work.
And the guy, I want to believe Rhett was telling us, the couple of people that have wanted to come in and get some, swing evaluations.
Right.
Heard about it on these airways.
Well, that's what
So
you do.
People are getting the idea.
If you would like a PGA pro and a certified Ledbetter Academy instructor to evaluate your swing, you can do that here at Pro Swing. And let me make it even better for you. All right. Tomorrow, you can do it as long as he's got a time for you for free. 30-minute
Free sounds pretty
free swing evaluation. Really see what's up. Where can you make a few tweaks here and there for free? All right. That's here tomorrow, Pro Swing on Forest Drive. And remember, too, if you buy 2 full hours of play on one of these amazing Golf Zone simulators before about 5 o'clock Friday afternoon, you will be entered into the drawing to win 2 VIP tickets to Sunday at Augusta.
That's a pretty cool deal.
All right.
And I was just told too on the YouTube stream, Michael Getty's comments, it says if you don't have time to play between now and Friday, a 2-hour gift card works too. So if you just want to get in the drawing, then you're like, I don't.
That's like a workaround.
Yeah,
like a workaround.
I might not have time to come in, tomorrow or Friday. Get a 2-hour gift card. You're
Now, should
in
I
that
trust
drawing.
this Michael Geddes?
I think you should.
Is he just posing as Michael Geddes?
I mean, his picture on YouTube here is of an M. It's one of those generic ones that you get your Gmail, but it's an M. And
at least it's not an egg or a bird.
yeah, so if it wasn't Michael Geddes, it would be a different letter.
No, that's true. I don't want to fool anybody here. No, he
verified.
yeah, it is him. They had said that actually. Yeah. So if you buy a 2-hour gift card, then that will also enter you
Yes.
into the drawing to win 2 VIP tickets to Augusta on Sunday.
Not just tickets. VIP.
The VIP.
tickets.
That's right. Yeah. I'm not saying you'll get to wear any of their special clothing or necessarily like hobnob with the chairman. I don't know.
Don't wear a green jacket there. It's like wearing, it's
I
like
think they will
wearing white to somebody else's wedding.
Yeah, they'll probably make you take it off.
They should
I wonder how many people have done that. Because I used to have
go around and acting like
I
you're a
actually
former
when
one.
I worked at the State House, I actually had, because they are a thing, but like a Kelly green sport coat.
Uh-huh.
You can wear it around, right, in the spring and summer. It's a
Right.
nice, But I wonder how many people through the years are like, I'm going to wear a green jacket to Augusta.
Never to be heard from again.
Yeah.
They don't just make you take it off. They make sure they take it off for you, and then also that you are never found.
Yeah. So don't be that guy. But anyway, come out and see us tomorrow. Play. So I had fun today. I played Spyglass, Pebble Beach, the other course, if you
Yeah.
will, as part of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. It was fun. I had a good time. My front nine was dreadful as I kind of unwound a little bit, my 54-year-old body got going. I hadn't played a full round in a while, but my back nine was good. And then I finished with 2 pars, and I I finished well, and that's
I was
good.
going to say, yeah, you
I
finished much
finished
better
well.
than you started because I
Yeah.
think the first hole was a quadruple bogey.
It was bad. It was a par 5, and it was bad. And again, I left. I mean, I putted. What I 4 putt on that one.
You 4-putted that one.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
And I had several
Honestly,
today. A lot of 3 putts today.
If you work on that putting,
I'd
you
be-
get
I'd be a
yourself
lot
into a much better score
I-
there.
I
But
did
that
all
is
right.
your Achilles heel.
But I love these simulators, man. I love the folks at Pro Swing. Again, thanks to Tyler and Rhett for hosting us today. David, of course, Michael and Nathan and the whole crew. We'll do it again tomorrow. Terry Ford, thank you, sir. Thanks to David Cloninger for coming out. Thanks to all of you for being a part of what we do every day. We appreciate you. For Elijah, I'm Jay. See you.